And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Hey,
I'm Tyler. We have a guest. I love guests. I don't know about you, but I love guests.
on the podcast, absolutely.
Okay.
Generally speaking, I love guests. I need to be less introverted.
Okay, our guest is waiting.
Okay.
His name, you've heard him before, Jeff. What's going on?
I just felt the warmest of welcomes just now.
Just ignored you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
In your welcoming home. Very excited to be here yet again.
81-degree home.
Feels good.
What happened to your AC, by the way?
It died again. I don't know.
Again?
Yeah.
You should
This is
get
the
that fixed.
third time it's been broken. Second time if you don't include us not changing the filter for 4 years. Found out. we should do that. So I changed the filter, got that, but then it died, and they were like, oh, we're just going to recharge the thingamajig and add some antifreeze. And then it was fine. It took a day to cool all the way back down to our standard 69-degree.
Yep.
And then, it started leaking again, and it's not. So we shut it off, and now it's 81.
Yikes.
I've been, which we'll get to, but I've been like sitting in my room with a fan, like a big tower fan. I want to say maybe 12 inches from my face, trying to like slog through like video games.
Did I tell you about Pittsburgh and the sweat down in Pittsburgh?
Nope.
We went down to Pittsburgh to a dance bar
Okay.
filled with people.
Yeah.
Did not see the notification on the door that said our AC is out of order. We get in there.
Yikes.
Probably dancing for a good 2.5 hours. I've never been more drenched in my entire life, and I didn't even notice. I took my shirt and I wrung it out, and it was just like the water on the floor.
That's crazy.
I walked out, when we were all leaving, and my pants were soaked. People were like, "Did you piss yourself?" I was like, "Did I? I don't
Maybe
know.
you were having
I
such a good
could've,
time."
but my pants were incredible. Like my front and back were completely soaked. My shirt was drenched. Drove home with my pants down to my knees, my shirt off, like over the passenger seat, like air drying.
Yeah.
It was an event.
But it was like full? There's a lot of people there?
Yeah, it
Despite
was
the AC.
completely packed. Completely.
Wow.
That's
packed,
got to be
elbow
like
to
somebody had to
elbow.
have been like passing out or something, right? Like from
That's
that.
dangerous.
Had to be.
Yeah.
And the DJ was amazing. So everyone
why.
was just, and I was there.
House
and
music?
I'd do it again.
Do you guys ever get so drunk that like you feel like you pissed yourself? Like you can't tell if you pissed yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big stage. Like that's a lot of drinks.
I was gonna say, like, where does that fall in line of like being like sick or blackout or whatever? Like
That's like one step before blackout, where you're like feeling your crotch
You do a little
and you're
pat,
like,
and you're like,
did I piss myself? You don't know.
I don't think I've ever been there.
That's bad.
Oh, no,
That's a
I
bad
have.
place to be. I've been there. It's not good. You're like patting yourself, right?
yes,
you're like
I guess you do.
Oh man, am I? Usually you don't piss yourself. Actually,
It just
But
feels a little warm.
yeah, it just feels.
You're
weird.
just sweating so profusely that it's like, oh, whoopsies.
That is wild, dude. That's
Sorry
crazy.
for the awkward intro, but
No, I
had to go there.
appreciate your transparency about your dancing life. You a big dancer? I'm terrible at dancing.
I'm not a great dancer, but I really enjoy a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
So if I can't hear my own singing, and if I see other people my height in the bar and they're dancing and we make eye contact and we're mouthing the words to each other and pointing at each other in the air, that's what I'm all about.
How often do you see people your height in bars?
Frequently.
Really? Okay, so
yeah.
it's
Really?
like a community. It's like you're
on
your
there,
average
yes.
people, and then you're like a foot and a half taller than everyone
there's,
else.
There's like a skyscape, a whole different like scene up there, and you're just trying to make eye contact.
What
with,
is life like in the clouds?
it's
Cloud City.
sometimes it's happy, smiley. People are cool. Other times they turn your back to you because there's only like a handful of you, right? You're like 7 or 8, and you
Yeah.
see each other. You know who you are,
Yes.
and
It's like
I
the
know who
giant
you are.
folk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you a lot of females or just like all dudes?
Here's the thing.
Oh, careful.
I got kicked off the bar itself, so I didn't know that only girls can go dance on the bar top. I thought guys could dance on the bar top
It's a little
too.
sexist in
That's
today's
a
day
little
and age.
fucked up, man.
Yeah.
But usually the women are actually above the sky top because they're dancing on the bar. So it usually goes common folk, the giants, and then the angels in
goddesses,
heaven.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm a common folk? Crap. That's not good.
You're like on the precipice of being.
I want to be a giant folk so bad,
Yeah.
but I'm not there.
You're what, 6?
6. Technically, your scale tells me 6'1",
6'1"?
which is now what I'm telling people because your scale would never lie to me.
No. Yeah.
It's electrical pulse.
Yeah.
That's
how they tell you.
That's truth.
Yeah.
Truth is in the electricity. That's what old Benny always said.
Gave him one of our old scales that just stopped working for us. I'm glad it was working for you.
Oh, it's not. I'm talking about the one I used over here.
Yeah.
When I strip naked in
this
front
one?
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. John's like, he gets naked. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I get
well,
naked
it's fine.
when I weigh myself because I don't want any of the clothes to miscalculate what
I
I
get
actually
that.
weigh.
But it pulses electricity through your body, and that's how it determines like your fat versus muscle and everything like that.
So if you shave, would that be advantageous?
Probably.
if
But
you have really heavy hair, maybe. I don't know.
you could shave a 0.1 off. 0.1 pound.
I don't
yes,
think you
dude,
can.
if you shaved. Dude,
A
if I
tenth-
shaved,
Enough hair that's a tenth of a pound.
I'm pretty hairy.
Look
at this.
I think if you took all of your hair, is that alopecia with the no hair?
Yes. Yes.
If you took all your, I don't know why. Okay, if you suddenly lost all your hair and you put it in a little pile,
Okay.
guaranteed that's not a tenth of a pound.
It is if you're in that dance bar. Easily.
Yeah,
We're talking
maybe
wet
if
hair.
it's soaking
Easily.
wet, but then that's water.
Number one liquid. Okay, yeah, we need to address this. So, last week, was this last week?
Yeah.
Top 5 beverages. A crucial list, I would say, in the all the lists that are out there. That's a crucial one to get right.
I'm actually like whenever you mentioned it,
You're surprised
shocked.
we didn't do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good list. Anyways, there's been a lot of controversy about our number one pick, and we have one of the. You're on board with the controversy, right?
Yeah, I'm one of the revolters.
Okay.
I do not believe it should be. I do not debate its place on the list. I just don't think it should be on the list at all.
It's so good.
If it's on the list, obviously it's number one.
Right.
But it shouldn't be there in terms of your entertainment topic.
Okay, for context, water's number one, obviously, and people are pissed because it shouldn't have counted. But I don't understand. Water's liquid. Water's a beverage. Why are we discounting it just because it's too good?
I think it's the flavor profile. I think when you're comparing a milkshake and coffee and beer and these other experiences to a fundamental life necessity that is incredibly good, it just everyone knows it's going to be there.
Right.
It's like I think you acknowledge water's, like you said on the podcast, O-penis.
Oh, penis. No, keep
That
going.
felt weird.
That
That
feels
felt
good.
weird coming out.
Sure.
I just
Oh man.
No, keep
We're at
going.
12,
Man. This
but
is
continue.
fantastic.
it is. Like, am I really going to debate whether water is better than coffee or not? Like, who's having that debate?
Me.
However, are you going to debate whether coffee or beer is better? Yeah, I would hear that debate, but nobody's going to say, bro, water is not better than coffee. Like, no one's going to say that.
I think a lot of people would say that, actually.
Yeah, Chelsea would probably like coffee more than water. There are people who just don't like water.
My friend's dad doesn't drink water. He gets his water intake through, like, 7-Up. So, like, there are people out there that would not agree water's number one. He hates water.
All right. Well, I'm just saying I am part of the conflict.
Dude, okay, well, let me ask you a question then. How did you feel about our top 5 pies?
Oh,
Because that's the real. Okay, look, I get that one.
why?
People
Why
being
would you put pizza?
It's a pie.
See, that one was my fault. I was
That
keeping
one-
that in the back pocket, waiting for it.
How is it not a pie though? Like it hits all the criteria.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me
I
you'd
feel like-
have like an apple
Here's-
pie over
I think this is why it was so enraging is that the rest of the list was notably dessert pie,
Right.
and then out of nowhere
Yeah.
you have pizza pie, like where shepherd's pie. Whereas
No, we had.
We talked about shepherd's pie. We talked about.
was it all dessert pie? I thought we had.
I feel like it was-
shepherd's pie.
No,
on there or
we
something.
talked about shepherd's pie. We talked about chicken pot pie,
Yeah.
oh, chicken pot pie,
Love
was
which
chicken
was
pot pie.
might have been. We talked about it.
Let me pull the
I
list
don't
up
know.
real quick. We definitely talked about it.
Yeah.
Pizza's a pie. It literally counts. And you can't tell me that you would not have a pizza over a dessert pie. Like that's
You're right.
Exactly.
You're 100% right.
The problem is, it's like when we did the top 5 planets, we did Earth as number 1, obviously, because like again, OP. It's like it houses life. Clearly, it's the best planet. But then you also have the thing where, and this is a point against us. I'm pretty sure we like disqualified humans in the top 5 mammals.
Did we?
I think so.
We did.
I think we did. Because it was, again, like, well, I mean, humans are so good. We can't possibly.
Okay.
So,
well, maybe we
so
suck then.
maybe we're inconsistent. I don't know.
Yeah,
And again,
probably right.
this is part of the charm of the Couch Co podcast. I'm not telling you to introduce a default, like, hey, this is acknowledged on the list as being incredibly amazing.
Sometimes you have to put the controversy out there. That's how you get the list.
I agree.
Oh, man.
Chicken pot pie was 3.
Yeah, okay. So it's... We
We had 2
some-
savory, 3 dessert, 3
Yeah.
sweet. Does that make you feel? It does. It seems like that didn't make you feel better.
And I think apple pie won the top 5 desserts. So it's had its day.
All right.
Shout out to Slow King, dude, being king of Gen 2, by the way. That dude's... Oh, yes. Let's get into this. Tell
We
us how
can't
all our
rehash
lists...
all the time.
Wait, he cringed at that one. We had Slow King, Espeon, Quagsire, Scizor, and Togepi.
Listen, I don't know Gen 2 as
okay.
well as you guys, but there was
We don't know
one
Gen
that
2
I
either.
looked up, and I was like, what did they just put on this list? It
Was that
one
Gen 2?
It was some blue shitter that was just sitting there with the
that's me.
goofiest look
That's me,
on it.
yep.
I was like, how did this make the list?
That's all
He's
John.
my favorite Pokemon.
You'll find whenever I'm arguing with John, if he has the passion, I have to step aside.
You bend the knee to passion?
Usually. I mean, he just did it last week with coffee. He's not a big coffee guy, but like
I did it episode 1 with fucking mushrooms on pizza.
Oh yeah,
As the best topping of all time. You're out of your brain, dude. There's no way.
I
But
think it's pretty good.
Tyler died on the hill, and I allowed it. So that's what good partners do.
Just saying.
They use it as leverage for further endeavors,
For
future endeavors.
the next list.
Yes.
It's
Anyways,
a game. It's all chess.
speaking of games, oh, dude, did I ever tell you I got banned from chess?
You got banned from
Yeah,
chess
for cheating.
butt
Yeah.
plug.
Huh?
Butt plug.
Yeah.
That's how they cheat in chess, right? There's no other way to
Yeah.
cheat in chess. It's
Yeah.
just either you use a butt plug
Yeah.
that vibrates,
Yeah.
or you.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got
Good
me.
for
dude.
you.
Thanks,
Experimenting.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, I was like, man, really just want to play chess right now.
No, how'd you get?
Oh, so what you do is you go on chess.com or whatever, and then you play like a normal game, but then you go on your phone and then you play against the hardest computer.
Mm-hmm.
You flip the board and then you play the moves that your opponent's playing in the real game. And then in the real game, you play the moves that the hard mode computer's playing against you. And you
Yeah.
just crush everyone. And then they ban you because you get perfect scores in every game. They're like, you're not that good.
So they banned you just because they think you're not that good.
I was playing perfectly. I was playing better than the best players in the world. So yeah, they banned me real quick.
I wonder.
They should have at least called me and like see if I was like a prodigy or something.
At least give me the benefit of the doubt
Yeah,
that I'm
right?
perfect at chess
Right?
instead of cheating. Yeah, no, I
Like
can
fly me
understand that.
out to Iceland to play in a tournament.
Dude. You need to
Get shit on.
take a dive every now and then. Keep the score on a believable.
Nah, fuck those guys. I was running over everyone. It felt good. It's a power trip.
How many games did you get through before they caught on?
20.
Wow.
Yeah. I was rated. I was like rated 2,000, dude. And they were like, "You're not a grandmaster."
Something's wrong here.
John XP 1290 started created his account 5 days ago as grandmaster.
I wonder if ChatGPT can play chess.
I think it's really bad.
Might be.
I saw a video on that, and what it'll do is it won't remember the state of the board. And then there were weird situations where it was eating its own pieces. So
Okay, maybe it's just
the AI
That's the next
revolution
level.
is like gonna be scary.
yeah, yeah. Did you guys hear about the Babel library online?
No.
And I might butcher this, but theoretically, there is a library online that houses every combination of words that has ever been or ever will be because it's all just math equations and things like that. So you think of a library, you can type in whatever you want.
Okay.
And it will zoom in on the coordinates because it's like there's only so many combinations of words. There's only so many words. So it's feasible to think that you could have something where it's like every letter of every combination of every, like it's not infinite, right? And it's bonkers to think about. But everything that I'm saying right now, technically, you should be able to type into this field on this website and it will zoom into like a library of a book of a whatever. Not like a fake book. Like it's nonsensical. But it will show you like here's what you've just said because it's like the combination of words exist. And it's bizarre.
What's the purpose of it?
To freak people out, I guess. I don't know. But it's just like it does the
So you type in a sentence.
It's like a procedurally generated thing, but it just like here's every combination of every word.
I'm shocked we have the computing power to
I don't know.
do that. Because there's like it's not infinite, but it's close.
Well, you take dictionary to X power, right? I don't think it's that astronomical. Do you?
100%.
No.
It's like they did the thing.
You have the whole dictionary, which is a big boy. And then
we'll say do like another dictionary power or
it's
something.
10 to the it's like
well,
I don't know,
isn't
like
it infinite
800.
then? Because can't
10,
you
No,
like what's the limit? Because you can put any number of string of words together, correct?
Right. So theoretically it's like
so it is infinite.
Well, no, it's not infinite because there's only so many words, there's only so many letters, and there's only so many combinations of words. So you can't.
Couldn't your sentence just continue though?
Well, it's not. It's about like your words. I guess it theoretically could, but like that's the thing is like
doesn't allow run-on sentences.
Well, okay, hold on. I'm gonna find it, but
I don't get what the point of this thing is though.
I'm
just
actually
to
a
do
little
it.
bit with John. Like I'm kind of confused.
It's
as
just
well,
to do it.
but-
It's just like it's I don't know.
But like
10
if
to
you
the
type in the
800th power or
sentence
whatever.
and it opens this fake book and it's like, oh, here it is. Like, what do you mean? I just typed it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it.
No, I'm a little
It's
bit.
like, you're just showing me what I typed in. I'm not blown away by that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Now, if it were to tell me what I'm going to say next, now we're talking about some scary shit.
Part of that is the whole like. Here we go. So the Library of Babel has every possible combination of words ever. Let me just try to scrub here real quick. So it's
Tyler's pulling up a video, by the way.
Yeah, so it's
podcast.
No, sorry. I was looking for the odds of it or whatever. So it gives you. It's like
oh, okay, that's interesting then.
Yeah, it's like 900 or 9,431 to the or it's 10 to the 5,000th power.
That's
not bad.
Not bad. That's
bad.
huge.
So in retrospect, there's only 10 to the 80 atoms.
See,
Or something like that.
Yes, in
So
the
it's
universe.
Yeah. So it. Well, combination like that. It's all about the combinations of like I don't
it's
know.
Not bad.
So there's 10 to the 80
I like I
atoms in
said
the
at the
universe.
beginning. I know I'm butchering
and this
this.
was 10 to the 5,000.
I will send you guys this video. It's just kind of nuts because then you get into this thing of, okay, well, this combination of words has already been said. So, or not has already, it hasn't been said. Just because it exists in this weird computer generated AI thing. I don't even know if it's AI, but it's like this computer generated thing that's just math. That's all it is. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean like it's going to give you like a prophecy or it's going to tell you something like something.
It's just
crazy.
notated.
Yeah,
already.
right.
So we have no original thoughts.
No, it's the fact that just because it's here doesn't mean that it has ever been spoken or hasn't ever been thought or whatever.
It's like a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Flubal's not in there though.
Theoretic. Well, it's not. It has to be real words,
It will
which
be
is
one day.
which is beautiful. Well, right, which is beautiful. But I don't know. I mean, you got to look at like you should be able to go into the library, pick a random book, pick a random whatever. When I say library, I'm talking this virtual like Axie library or whatever. And you should be able to look at it, and you should just be able to see like just these nonsensical words. But somebody could just be like, you could just be like, purple giraffe, barstool, water. And it'll be like, okay, well, that's
You know what's more
section
fascinating?
4 of
What's more interesting to me is why you picked those random words. And I have a theory that
Yeah.
there's like all this information stored in the background in your brain. So when you try to think of something spontaneous and super random, you're like grabbing it like random. So like maybe you saw like a giraffe out of the corner of your eye when you were at the store the other day, like
Yeah.
a stuffed giraffe or something. And it's just been sitting back there. And then your brain's like, oh, we need something. Whoop, and you just throw that from the stores of your data. You know what I mean?
And I like purple, so it's not like
well,
a
yeah,
huge
like,
leap. Yeah,
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah,
Like, can anything be truly random?
yeah.
Because, like, I don't know if this is a myth, but I heard, like, people, like, you dream about, you can't make up faces. Like, you've seen everyone in your dreams somewhere, even if it was just passing by or something, or on TV or whatever. So, like, even if you don't recognize someone in your dreams, you've seen them somewhere.
Yeah, but people also say you dream in black and white, and that's just not the case.
That's not
No,
true.
That is not true.
So-
you can,
Yeah, you can.
but not. It's not
Yeah,
always.
that's not true. So I might be saying bullshit too. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be
I don't know.
that would be cool.
I will see if I can find the. Well, I definitely know the site, so I'll put the site in the notes, and then I'll send you guys the video. I think it's wild.
All right.
I wasn't expecting to talk about it, but it was just kind of crazy.
Can you feel temperature in dreams? I don't think you can, because I remember this one time I went lucid, like big time. Did I ever tell you about this dream? I think I told you.
Probably.
I'm a,
You might not have.
Okay, so this one time, I probably said it on the podcast, whatever. I'll rehash it. So I was keeping a dream journal. I was like getting really into it, trying to go lucid dreaming and shit. And I remember I was walking out of this gas station that was right by my house, and it was a snowstorm. And then I was like, oh shit. Or no, I didn't come to the realization I was in a dream. I was like walking through all the snow. It's like, oh shit, I'm at a gas station. So I'm walking through all the snow, and I go down and I pick up the snow, and it's warm, like it's room temperature. It's not cold. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in a dream. So then I run out in the middle of the street and I freeze time. It was really cool. I can only hold it for like 5 seconds though. But that made me think, like, can you feel temperature in dreams? Or no?
So, do you think you've ever felt pain?
Yes, I have.
Then I would say yes, you can feel temperature. However, because it's a dream, that temperature may not be what it appears to be.
Can you though? Because like if feeling pain comes down to your nerves firing, right?
Yeah.
Temperature, while your body regulates your temperature, it's not like I can just drop to freezing temperatures in my body. I would just die, right?
You don't think your brain could give the illusion of that?
Have you ever like tried to think about being like
Listen.
you can't change yourself being cold?
No. I think you're wrong.
Really? You think so?
There is a Rugrats episode. I'm pulling a deep cut here. This is like 3rd grade. I remember this Rugrats episode where I think it's Chucky gets lost outside. He doesn't know how to get back to the house.
Glasses guy?
The glasses
Okay,
guy.
okay.
Green shorts,
Can't tie
red
his
hair.
shoes?
Can't tie his shoes.
Hated that.
I
That
think
made
he
me
got
so
lost
mad.
outside. He was like
Okay.
in the sandbox.
Okay.
Scorching temperatures outside. This baby was burning. And that episode taught me when you are feeling warm to just think about, a cool breeze, to think about, that drink of Fiji water. I think there's something to it. And I'll tell you what,
Mind over matter.
Yes, mind over matter. And even whenever, I'll give you another example. I'm almost deathly afraid of the dark. I do not like the dark. I don't know why, but when I used to be afraid of the dark, my parents used to always tell me, just think that you're in heaven. I was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? But they would say, just think that you're in heaven. I was like, I don't know where you're going with this. They're like, go, almost like Happy Gilmore, go to your happy place kind of stuff. I swear to God, it works. I think there is much more to this squishy thing in our head than meets the eye. I really believe that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. Like you read about like people swimming in like freezing waters. And they're able to like regulate their bodies through like breathing techniques and shit. Like they should be dead because they're in like ice water for like X amount of minutes or whatever. But like people are able to do it. Stuff like that's crazy to me.
I think what really messes me up though is what's us as humans, what's our closest DNA relative, and it's like the orangutan or something like that, or one of the apes.
Yeah.
And the gap in knowledge there and, sophistication, civilization is so massive, even though our DNA is like so close, ridiculously close.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we start talking about aliens and like, all that shit, what is their gap in knowledge going to be when our DNA is hypothetically much further apart than ours is to the ape? Mm-hmm. Their knowledge could be like so vast that we just look like ants. I hope. At least I hope that's what it's like.
Or even if we have close DNA to him,
yeah,
it's still a huge jump. Yeah, because we would be essentially apes to them.
Who's going to be smarter though, the AIs or the aliens?
Aliens.
You think so?
Well, they would have to be.
Why?
So when we're talking about civilizations, we should not go down that path. But when we're talking about like type 1 civilizations and things like that, and like it's like, okay, we have to overcome some like extinction level event, right? Now, theoretically, it wouldn't have been like the Ice Age or anything, because like to do type 1, you have to then colonize outside of your planet. So for AI to be like, that's the thing that we're going to end up overcoming, I personally don't think it's that far off. So I think that for aliens, I'm sure they have something similar to that, or some, parallel to it, where it's like, yeah, they overcame that, and that's why they're going and visiting.
But what
other
if it's
planets
not
and things.
though? Like, let's say the Asari exist.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're crazy is because of their mental capabilities. Like, their physiology is just better than humans. Whereas humans have to rely on technology. They have like psychic powers. So it's like,
maybe.
you know what I mean? So maybe they're not familiar with the same type of capabilities that we are. Because that's humans' MO. Like, we build things because we're super fragile and weak, and we lose to everything until we build OP things that beat everything else.
I guess that's fair. I guess
StarCraft, yeah.
as of right now, AIs are
True.
not smarter than humans because they're only drawing from what we've already done. So until they can start thinking from themselves or coming up with new concepts that are actually accurate and can change in some way, that's when it'd be maybe like, oh, maybe this is not
right.
good. I don't know. Because aliens would be, my thing there would be aliens are smarter than us, so then
Right.
they would naturally automatically be smarter than AI.
Have you been reading the latest alien news, like the congressional?
No, because I am looking at the all the problems going on in the world of like, oh, let's talk about Russia and Ukraine. Let's talk about Biden.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Trump. And then suddenly it's like, wait, guys, aliens. Yeah, no, that's fine. But where's all this money going? Where's all? It's like, no, guys, aliens are here. Yeah, we don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring that up is it really messes with my head, thinking that these aliens came down in a square spacecraft. Like, that just doesn't, like, that for me doesn't click in my head, that these aliens chose a square shape to traverse the oceans, the atmosphere, the space. Why square? Is it an aesthetic choice? Do they like squares?
Well, it might be because like squares are rectangles, but like not all rectangles are squares, So they want to get the widest shape base they can get.
I have no clue what you just
If
said.
you were in a type 2 civilization, you'd understand.
Okay. Yeah.
That's type 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure. Show us the aliens then. Like, here's the thing. You can be like, oh, hey, aliens, UFOs. Like, sure, then show it to
I
us.
just want to see it so bad.
Yeah, well, that's
What
I
if
mean.
aliens
Like,
don't exist?
How dare you?
Dude, that's possible. You don't think that's possible?
I don't think that's possible.
It could be possible.
it could be possible.
That
if
is
the universe
within the
doesn't
realm of
exist.
possibility.
What
that
if the
aliens-
universe doesn't exist? It's Schrodinger's universe. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, we can say
How
that
does the universe not exist?
because we can't go there. We can't do anything. Like, we have all these theories.
We go a little
and
bit
beliefs
there.
and stuff. We can't get out
A
of our
little
solar
bit
system.
there.
We can't
Our
get
solar
to Mars.
system, last time I checked, is within the universe.
Correct. But what I'm saying is we are talking about outside of our solar system, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about colonizing Mars and different things like that. But it's like we can't get past. Like, we just got to what? Jupiter.
Dude, as soon as we find the mass relays, we're golden.
Yeah, well, then I'll believe aliens exist. But what I'm saying is, like, to get outside of the solar, like, we have all these theories about, like, oh, well, here's the Big Bang, and here's the star, and here's everything going, forward. And they were trying to talk about how, like, planets aren't actually moving farther away from each other. They're because they can't travel faster than light, so they're staying in the same place. But the universe is expanding. So then it's like, think about chocolate chips in a cookie, and all the chocolate chips are all the different the planets, and their locations didn't change. But then the cookie is expanding out, so the distance between
we're still
the
in the
planets,
oven.
Yeah, so the distance between the
still in the
planets
oven.
are increasing, but the planet distance are not necessarily. So it's like,
I think the chocolate chips move with the cookie, though.
well, what they're saying is that
I think
because
so, too.
space is expanding and
Yeah.
it's not the planets. The planets aren't moving faster than light because technically it's 70,000 kilometers a second or some insane thing that's faster than light. So what I'm saying is space is not beholden to the faster than light type of thing. Objects are. Space isn't. So because space is expanding, then objects technically can go faster than light in that they are going distant away from each other faster than light without breaking.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Neither do I. But what I'm saying is, like, that's all what we're expecting and thinking, and the black holes and all this other crap.
Remember when we had a conversation?
It could be like a cardboard box. Like, it could literally just be like, here's our universe, and it's
Sure.
freaking Truman Show, and then we send out a probe, and it just smashes into like this black like wall that aliens have us set up in.
Oh, no.
All right, first of all, I want to say, remember the conversation we had when you were like, oh man, dude, like 100 years ago, people were so much better because they had all these dates memorized and all this shit. You think 100 years ago, people could even begin to understand the concepts that you're beginning to
No, but that's the
expound
thing
upon?
is we can't even understand the concepts. We have theories,
but
and
the
we're throwing stuff
technology
out
that we
there.
have available to us now, you have the introduction to all of that knowledge.
And it's
that
just-
100, 200 years ago, not even close.
But what are we doing with it? We're not doing anything with it. We're terrified of it. It's just like,
What do you mean? I think it's
all we're proving, like, either we are proving out that we are the most insignificant things in a universe and just a speck of nothing, and we're tearing down all these institutions of religion and politics, and we're proving to ourselves that we are apes, that we are just squabbling and fighting amongst ourselves when you have this vast universe out there. Like, there's not like I don't see like the benefit. You would think
we're searching for truth. That's what we've always done.
What truth? Truth of
The
what?
truth of life, the universe. That's what we've always done. Why the fuck do people get on boats and travel the ocean? There's no reason for that.
But we got something out of it. Well, that's a little icky too. But we got something out of it. What I'm saying is, like,
What's to say we won't get something out of this?
well, we have.
It might
we
not be
haven't so
soon.
far. That's what I mean. We haven't.
Yeah,
so far.
when they were in the middle of the ocean, fucking dying, they weren't getting anything out of it either.
Yeah, but we prospered from it. I don't know. I'm just.
You haven't
I
seen the
think-
result of it.
I think we haven't hit that desperation milestone yet. I think that is like
Right.
humanity's skill to survive will be tested when it gets to that point. And what is the benefit of exploration? Like, what is the benefit? Well, our survival. And I guarantee there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who right now, if given the opportunity to get on a space rocket to go explore the unknown for the sake of humanity, would do it.
We're wired. We've always been wired
I
that
think
way.
I think there are plenty of quote unquote exploration humans what we call those explorers. What do we
Explorers, yeah.
yeah, no. Exploration humans are pretty.
Exploration humans. I like that terminology, actually. That's pretty sick.
I think
Dora the exploration human.
Yeah, I think I think there's something written in our DNA that wants to go dig for that fossil, that wants to go uncover that rock, and man, I can't wait for someone braver than me to go do it.
Yeah, like, why do we dig in the earth for bones that are millions of years old? There's no point.
I mean, for truth.
That's what I'm saying. We want to know what happened before us. What were these giant things walking around? That's like, we're hardwired to understand what the truth is.
Yeah, I guess. This is gonna get, but like we already are going back and forth on like the truth and different things like that, because there was super true that, you know, the Earth was the center of the universe until it wasn't. And then it was super true that the Earth was round until it wasn't. And then it was super true that...
Wait, I'm going to hold you up. What was that last one?
You got me. but what I'm saying is, like, it's just, I don't know, like it...
But that's why you can't stop.
I know.
That's why we're never done. Because something could come out and we could be on a square.
It's just like, if some person thinks that there's like, oh, this is true, then the other half, and I'm just talking like United States, but like then United States will be like split in half, no matter what, because that's what we do. It's if one group of people think, like if conservatives think, let's go exploring, then liberals won't, and then vice versa. And it's just like, to Jeff's point, until not just, you know, United States, but until like the world has to overcome something of just like, oh, we are humans all together have to overcome X, be it depletion of resources or whatever, that's going to be the thing where it's like, okay, can we overcome this to then go out to the stars and find our truth and different things like that? But it's just like, what I'm saying is, if you find aliens out there, and it's like, let's say you discover the truth about aliens, whatever that means, or you discover the aliens and they have all the answers to the universe, then it's like, what does that do to us as a species, right? Like, I think at this point in time, it just destroys. It's like, oh, nothing matters. Like we're nothing. I just don't think.
I think it's exactly the opposite.
I think it's the exact
I
opposite.
just don't think.
Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, if an alien can come down and say, "Hey guys, here's all of the secrets of the universe," and we can understand them, then it would then they're really no better than us. If we can comprehend that, that you're so much better, blah 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 blah, that would be the same thing of if we went to an ape and said, "Hey, here's nuclear physics." They wouldn't understand. Right?
No.
So that would be the same thing where I would contend that if we have an alien and it comes down and it tells us all these amazing things, then it's like, oh, so you're like a low-ranking alien, right? Like you're actually not that smart. If we can comprehend what you're talking about, then like, I don't know. It just doesn't mean much to me. They wouldn't be like they're the truth, right? Because then it would stand to reason that you would have someone even like further. Give me that Type 7 civilization, that God, if you will.
I don't know what you're saying. I honestly have no... I'm kind of losing you.
Well, for me, I think yes, that gap of intelligence is going to be drastic, obvious. I'm more concerned even more so about language. How do you even communicate? How do we even get on the same page in terms of how can somebody above us bring us and boost humanity to be able to survive in that way? I don't know how that's possible. We talk about, dolphins and how, they speak and can hypothetically learn better than apes in some regards, but we still cannot communicate successfully to the point where like, hey, don't swim that way because you're about to get eaten or something like that. I think that for aliens to come and to Earth and help us, I hope they have some answer for the language barrier or the communication barrier or something, because I don't think we're going to be able to comprehend it either. We're just going to be like, what do you want us to do? Like, do we go stand on this teleportation pad and it takes us to the promised land? You know what I mean? Like, how do we even begin that? I don't know, but it's still nonetheless exciting to me. I hope and pray.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's exciting. I just think that if we can comprehend an alien, it's the wrong alien. That's my thesis.
Why?
Because I that's not what we're looking for. Like, aside from, there's other life in the universe. Cool, that's a stepping stone. What I'm saying is I think humans need to advance themselves to some extent.
We are.
Yeah, no, right. I get that.
But that's the whole point. Like, advancement is everything we do.
Yeah.
At the behest of a lot of things. Like, we create a lot of bad because of that advancement. But that's like our MO.
Yeah.
Is to constantly improve. So I don't think that ever stops.
No, not until we get wiped out.
Right.
Or become
we
a Type 1
learn
civilization.
everything
that's
in the universe.
Would you guys teleport? Would you?
Yeah.
If it's not you.
If I'm single,
But if it's not you.
what do you mean teleport?
So like teleporting, you destroy yourself into atoms and then redo the
Oh
atoms
yeah, 100%.
exactly how it is.
As long as I'm
Like,
single, yeah, I do it.
So okay. So you're like essentially cloning yourself.
Yeah, I do it.
Yeah.
Whoa, I don't know. I don't think I'd do it.
That's what I mean. Right? Would
Crazy.
you? Yeah.
That's nuts.
I would. Sign
That's
up for
awesome
that.
though. That for you.
Yeah,
That's
as long as I have no
envy that.
dependence, single, more old. As long as my friends are cool with it, like, hey man, like
I could be
throw a going away
gone.
party kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like, everyone's cool with it. Yeah.
Well, even if it's
You might
teleporting
be
around
back
the
in
world.
like 5 minutes though. You
No,
might
no,
just
like
be,
even if it's teleporting around the world. So you're talking to aliens, and I agree with you. It's like, yeah, let's see what's up, right?
yeah.
I'm talking like Tesla comes out, and they're like, hey, we came up with
Hell no,
teleporting.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Do you just not like Tesla?
No, but I can get to somewhere on Earth.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is like, would you go the teleportation?
All right,
route
let's
if
talk
it's-
about Mars. You can now visit Mars.
Again,
teleport.
I'm
teleporting.
single. I'm say 55, 60.
Okay.
Retired maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking that teleporter to Mars.
and you can come back and.
I don't.
But there's a 1% chance you blow up.
I would even if say there's like a 15% chance, I'd still do it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Again, no dependence, no significant other.
If it's
friends are cool with
1%, does
it.
your age go down? Like, would you do it at like 40?
No.
So
I think
55 's the-
in my head, like I have things that I want to accomplish here on Earth, and hypothetically, by the time I'm retired, a lot of those projects and goals of mine should be reached, and if not, within arm's length. And if somebody tells me, "Hey, you wanna go teleport to Mars? You got 98% chance of making it." Yeah, hell yeah.
All right.
But the act of teleportation is
Destroys
you.
you.
Destroyed you,
Rebuilds
and then
you.
rebuilds you in a different location. Meaning that the person that goes into the teleporter is not the same person that comes out of the other side of the teleporter, and vice versa. You come back. It's not like you're
What's different about you?
theoretically nothing, but the fact is you are vaporized.
Yeah. Is that how teleporting
scanned,
works?
whatever, and then, well, I'm sure not in science fiction. I'm just saying like that would be how it.
I'd be fine with it. I got a fake arm already, fake teeth.
You have a
Oh,
fake
'cause you're-
arm?
Go to cyberpunk.
My arm's all like got bolts in it and
Oh my
like
God.
metal plating and.
What did you do? Were you in Fight Club or something?
No, in fourth grade, I I went down this huge hill on my skateboard. And my arm like got obliterated into a million pieces.
Oh my god!
I thought you were talking like, oh, I'm just gonna be like the cyberpunk guy by then, but you're talking you actually have a.
Oh,
are the cyberpunk
Fourth
guy.
grade, like my arm looked like a chicken wing that someone snapped in half, and I didn't know what was going on. And like one of the neighbors was like, "Sonny, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." He was like, "Look at your arm." I was like, "Ah," and he put it in like a styrofoam like cast. And I went to the hospital, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't even like ride the school bus." So I got like out of school for like 3 months because it was so bad.
Wow.
Why can't you ride the school bus?
Because the bumps would hypothetically like
mess up your arm.
reset, like mess up the bolts and the plates that they put in it.
Dude, that's crazy. I'm never skateboarding now.
I tried it once.
I had like a Power Ranger skateboard when I was a little kid. I was very bad at it.
I had so many skateboards. I loved it.
Yeah.
I stood on a skateboard and fell backwards, and like it was like a banana peel
Yeah.
situation. Cracked my head on a driveway, and I was like, "Well, I'm never doing this again."
Sounds about right.
That's it. So none of that was what we were going to talk about, but what do we got on the docket today? Wanna talk
Still
about
trying to
this?
think about aliens. I mean, we're gonna talk about. I mean, the elephant in the room is.
My cousin is in fact alive and well.
Yeah, did you check in on that?
man,
What did
that
he
was
say?
bad.
He
Is
texted
that
me
Justin?
and laughed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Justin, man. Good guy.
He so we are gonna have him on the podcast. Which if you're into the aliens thing, like he's gonna come talk about Egypt and all kinds of stuff. So like,
Oh, so he's
Maybe
probably
we-
a fan
maybe
of
get
that.
like a
I wonder if he's a
foursome
fan of
together.
that Netflix show. What's that called? Not Ancient Aliens. It's
I'm a fan
Angel-
of Asian.
oh, you're
Oh my gosh. Is that with the crazy guy?
no,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the crazy guy show. It is Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, where he
With his
says
hair, and
aliens.
and he's just like,
Oh no, there's a
he's
different
turned
show.
into
He's
a
the meme,
but-
right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. What show are you thinking about?
I don't know. I'm talking about the one that like looks at all the monuments around the world, and they said there's no possibility that these monuments could be built by the civilizations that claim they're built by. Like I can't remember what the show is, but this person that does the documentary has come under like incredible scrutiny for like he's psycho and crazy and like all that stuff, but the way that he speaks,
Well, whenever
like,
we
makes
find
me
out when
believe it.
he's going on, when we pick a day, that'd be a fun foursome.
Yeah. I'm interested in learning about all that because I have like no conspiracy theory experience. Are people offended when you say that, like conspiracy theories?
I don't think so.
Not good with theories. I don't get into any of that, dude. I don't get it.
There are conspiracy theories that I definitely believe in. Like I think there is a world
Bigfoot?
power. No, I think that there's.
Dude, I was like reading about there's like 3 companies that own 80% of the S&P 500, the top shareholder in terms of stock or in terms of equity, I guess. Not equity, but like shares, number of shares.
Mm-hmm.
It's owned by 3 companies.
Yeah,
That's
like,
crazy.
it's just I'm not like I absolutely believe that you have like the wealthy and influential that are pulling.
They're like
strings
worth
and doing
trillions of dollars.
stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's like Vanguard, Blackstone or something. Does that sound right?
I would be surprised
Yeah.
if Blackstone was on there. But
And then there was a third
They're up
one.
there.
I forget
They're
what the
like-
third one is.
investments in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so it's 10.
Yeah. So is Vanguard. But they own 80% of the S&P 500. They own the top amount of shares.
I know somebody that worked for Blackstone, and it was one of the worst experiences of their lives.
Yeah. They're the bad guys.
Guess we're not getting sponsored. by...
Sorry, Blackstone.
Anyway,
I love Blackstone personally.
I'm very excited to hear what he has to say. But that's That'll be
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Ancient aliens.
I don't even know. To be fair, I don't even know if it's the alien side of things, but
Yeah. I wonder what he's going to come.
I-
Well, it's
I'm
aliens. I
excited.
thought it was aliens.
I'm sure it's
Or it could be anything.
tangentially alien.
JFK, is he like into that stuff too?
I don't know.
There's a bunch with that. Like
He's
government
he's a
conspiracies
fount
and
of
stuff.
untapped
Like,
knowledge. Yeah, I don't know,
like false flag stuff. I don't know.
buddy.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know anything.
I think we don't know. Just as a people, we don't know half the stuff that goes on. That's
what I'm saying, dude. That's why we search for the truth.
Well,
Yeah? Yeah? You like that?
but like,
Uh-oh, here we go.
No,
Ooh,
no,
yeah.
Come on.
I heard that.
sometimes
I heard the neurons.
You know
dude.
the whole the ignorance is bliss argument
100%.
is a strong argument of like we
We-
hunt for the truth and we claw and scrape and get all this stuff and then it's
Yep.
like what is the best thing that we could come up with what's the oh finally we hit it, like there's always going to be another truth, there's always going to be something else, and it's just like at what point can you just be content?
Never.
No, you never.
That's a problem.
Why
is that a problem?
I think
I don't
that's
know.
beautiful.
That's
I
why life's
guess.
awesome.
I guess, but then okay, like you go to heaven,
Yeah.
now what?
well, that is where I
Play
will
with
get,
my dogs.
That is
I
where I
haven't
will
seen
get
in a long time.
pissed off. If there is an afterlife and I don't have answers, then we have a problem.
I imagine you get to heaven. Well, actually, I imagine it like this. First, you're in a courtroom, okay?
Oh.
And then they're going over every bad thing you ever did. God's saying like, oh, holy shit, John,
Yeah, it's
you are
bad.
fucked up, man. And the devil's like the prosecutor. He's like, look at this guy, man. This guy's a weirdo. And Jesus is like, oh, man, you're not helping me, bro. Anyways, so let's say you win the case and you get in. And then I think like you get just a big book, big pile of papers, and it's all your stats from life. And you're just like looking through them for like the first like eternity.
The
You just
first eternity, yeah.
Like how many liters of water did I drink in my life? It's just bullshit like that. You're just
Yeah.
going through all your stats. That would be cool, man. I'd like to know, like, here's how many people you knew, and it's like how many people you knew,
Yeah.
and like here's the person that liked you the most, and it's like here was your soulmate. You never met them. They were in Singapore.
Here's my problem with heaven.
Korea.
It's not Korea.
No, I'm saying Korea would be. That's where your soulmate is.
Mine?
Yeah, you'd have to go there. to
Faker
find
is
them.
my soulmate. True. That's facts.
Here's my problem with heaven. I
Oh.
have no desire to see any of my relatives because I don't want them being like, bro, why do you masturbate so much?
That's a lot to unpack.
You know what I mean?
So
My grandmother, my Nana, rest in peace. She just died a month ago.
That's the first thing they'd say. They wouldn't be
And
happy
I'm
to
like,
see you.
I don't want
Jesus
Like
Christ.
okay, so if heaven is like you can't look down on, the people on earth that are still alive. You can't look down on your loved ones. Cool, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But if you can, and like my relatives, like, hey, we'll check on Jeffrey. What's he up to? And I'm just like, fucking my partner or something like that. And, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe
I
it's
don't,
blurred out. It's just you're just in
I
a constant
don't.
state of blurred.
As long as they cannot look down.
I think they've ascended past caring about that, though. Like,
No,
they have infinite
really?
knowledge.
You would have to,
100%, they have infinite knowledge.
Think
You're
about
not
it this
gonna
way.
check.
So-
You're
so-
not going to check in
Well,
on
no.
your
So
family.
I've thought about that
You
a
check
lot,
in,
right?
and it'd be okay. Go,
Because
go.
I'm in the same boat of
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is I don't want spied upon, right?
I don't care, but yeah.
Like I was even just we don't go in the nitty gritty, but it's just like I don't want spied upon.
Right.
I think one of the saving graces there is like eternity is a long time, right? We live 80 years in a good year.
Yeah.
So like they don't have the time to like we're gone. Our grandkid, great, like in less than a second on their time. So I choose to believe that it's like whenever they pass away, we're like 3 people behind them in the line of the pearly gates, right? You know what I mean? So like that's how my mind kind of wrapped around it, where it's like when you think eternity, it's like anything here is so inconsequential, it does not matter. So it's like, no, perfection's already set and done. Everyone's there. So like anyone you want to see or anyone that's like there is just there. Like apocalypse happened, rapture happened. Like it's just like done. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like we've already played out our piece. Like whenever you are like pass away, you have everybody. I don't know. That's how
Your party's
view it.
full.
Yeah, like it's done.
Yeah.
It's also perfect. So if you don't want to see people, maybe they don't.
I don't want to see though. I mean, relatives cool, but so you're. See, now I'm really struggling with
I'd
it.
see all my pets first. I'd be like, yo, point me to the pet heaven.
The pet cemetery. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. They'd be all playing with each other, running around. I'd be like, hey guys. They'd be like, holy shit, this guy.
It's you.
It's you.
Meanwhile,
They'd
my
do it.
parents just kept saying, like, animals don't actually
Your parents are wrong,
have
dude.
souls, right? Like, they
parents
don't
are wrong.
actually
Oh,
go to
they
heaven.
really drove that into you.
Well, that's the only reason I was allowed to see all dogs go to heaven. Is
Wait, what?
Yeah. My mom was like, we'll let you see this, but you have to understand that, like, no.
But they're
Oh, buddy.
they're so cute though.
They're very adorable. They're super cute.
How can something be so happy and innocent and pure and not have a soul?
I don't tell you, man.
Like, if you were to tell me a salamander doesn't have a soul, I'd be more inclined to hear you out.
Wow.
Salamanders aren't very cuddly.
Judgy.
That is kind of okay. Let me do you one better. A gnat.
Yeah, also judgy.
Okay, but like it's a bug.
What about reincarnation?
No,
No.
I would
get one
I believe in reincarnation more than heaven.
really.
Yeah.
So you think you're on a multiple life here?
Yeah, I think it's yeah,
But you're not going to remember any of this.
exactly. And I don't remember what happened before this.
So like my thing is like if I didn't remember anything that happened before, wouldn't you lose all concept of time? Because we're acknowledging our consciousness right now, and it's like, okay,
Yes.
we're here, like this is happening, but eventually this is going to end, and if you get reborn somewhere else, you're not going to remember any of this.
Right.
So is it like this ever happened? Wouldn't
No.
you just be like, you know what I mean? I feel like you'd lose all concept of time. This is a very big brain theory, but it's like I don't know if
It's
it
less
does make
about
sense.
concept of time and more about just nothing matters.
Like you'll
that's-
have no memory. Like if you have no memory, you can't conceptualize time because
Yeah.
you have no frame of reference.
It would be more of the fact of like in reincarnation. I don't know, obviously, I'm not super in the weeds with it, but I assume that it's like based off of how well you do in this lifetime, that gives you then the next lifetime either. That's if you're
the
really bad.
basic concept,
Now you're in
yeah.
that. Congratulations. And you
Whoa,
kinda-
that's judgy.
I'm just saying.
Why not?
Or a fly or whatever, like a 25-hour.
What about those
lifespan or
bugs?
something?
Do you see those red bugs that are like really bad? Like they have nothing
Yeah.
good about them.
What if cockroaches are the final stage of reincarnation?
They are.
So you have to like work your way up.
Yeah.
Cockroaches
Yeah.
are so OP, dude. They live through everything.
Are humans the final stage, or is that cows? Am I
Cow-
mixing
cows in
religions?
Hindi?
I might be mixing religions up.
I thought cows were sacred.
I thought so too, but I don't know if that's
I don't know either.
reincarnation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What's
We're talking about heaven or something.
yeah.
Do you think it's like fluffy white clouds? What if we just got it right? What if it's just clouds and shit? We have like wings.
I think of an open field. I just think of an open field, and you can just run as far as you want.
There's no way it's fluffy clouds. Absolutely
I
no
know
way.
it's not, but like, what if?
Dude, I think it's way scarier. I think it's like fucked up. I think it's like Cthulhu bullshit.
Heaven? What?
Yeah. I think it's like
Heaven's good.
Well, the Bible, right, describes an angel as pretty horrific. Like it's not this glamorous, scantily clad, large-breasted woman. It's like a multi-faced, like really fucked up figure.
Horrifying,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not what we depicted as in like cartoons and stuff like that.
If I'm being honest, I think we can't even
Yeah,
even
it's fine.
fathom what it is, because once we die, we lose all of our senses, so we have no idea how to begin to
Yeah, but
describe
then if we're
exactly what
also
happens.
built in God's image, then there has to be some sort of correlation there.
Fluffy clouds. I'm back on the fluffy cloud train. It's
I think-
got to be.
You know what? I
It's
think
gotta
I'm going.
be, dude.
I think I'm going Matrix right now. Like I think I'm going Matrix.
It's like
I think I'm going
Like
simulation.
put yourself in a simulation and just
you've just decided that's
I think
the
right
train
now,
you're
like
riding.
I think I just traded off from reincarnation to Matrix. Yeah.
Let me ask you this then.
I like
We're
Matrix.
talking right here, and then boom, you just wake up. Someone just pulled you out. And
know
they're like,
what?
Jeff, we need your help, man.
You know why I like Matrix? Because it gives me a reason. Hypothetically, if I'm in an illusion right now, somebody's benefiting off of me being in that illusion, which means my existence has purpose.
Wow, that's selfless and kind of fucked
you're
up.
good with you want to
I'm good
stay
with
in the
that.
Matrix?
Yeah, I'm good
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
see, 2 against 1 now.
I'm good with
You
that.
guys can stay. I'm joining the resistance, dude.
Dude, benefit. You want my energy?
Good.
Go nuts. Just make my life just give me a house.
Yeah, but they're not giving you a house.
No, they're flooding it. So that's why I have a problem. Like that's when I'm waking up and I'm going to take on the robots.
That's exactly
Like-
right. Like life sucks.
Yeah.
So you should fight the
Well,
robots.
they actually talk about that in the Matrix, saying that the sucky part of life is why we accept the program. Because we're hardwired to
right.
that's what makes it real is the misery.
Man, The Matrix way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Good movie.
New
Well,
Matrix?
the first one.
Way behind its time.
Yeah, yikes. That should have been like a one and done.
Matrix?
Yeah,
Yeah. It could have been.
maybe a two and done.
Even 3 gets there.
3 was bad. I rewatched 3 not too long
bad
ago.
until you watch 4.
I haven't even watched.
I was
Wow.
happy with the trilogy. I really was.
Yeah. I
Really?
thought it was
Yeah.
okay.
Were they all spectacular? No. No. But I liked where it was going. I liked where it went. I'm glad they existed.
I thought 1 was amazing, 2 was decent, and then 3. Okay, it did get there, but it was chugging. It was like
It was up its own ass. Like it was like okay, like
it got kind of weird.
Yeah.
Dude. I don't know.
One of the strangest parts for The Matrix for me was the fashion element of it and how that translated to real life. I don't know if you, John, you were probably too young, but I remember people like going to the mall in like the dark trench coat,
Yep.
like the pale makeup, and like that movie really translated to real life. People connected with that movie way more than I ever expected. That was,
good and bad. Sold a lot of
Yeah.
phones. They had a lot of flip phones, like the Razor phones. But then people were like straight up killing themselves
Yeah.
because they're like, I could dodge this bullet. Like they believed so much in that it was like
Was this
true.
like a serious thing?
Kids died.
you
Yeah.
know.
Holy shit! Kids are so stupid.
Well, yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I was just trying to like turn Super Saiyan, so I was just screaming.
Just waiting.
Like that was my thing.
yeah.
I dug holes.
Dude, yeah, you did tell us about that. You
dude,
loved the holes.
Dug holes.
Do you like the movie Holes?
No,
The book?
terrible. No,
You don't like the book?
They don't.
They dug holes,
missed
so
the
that was
message.
punishment.
They missed the meaning,
The pleasure behind
of the
it.
hole.
They had the hole as the punishment, but it's actually
Yes!
pleasure.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
I love this.
Did you ever read Ender's Game?
No, I've
Yeah,
not.
I just
Which one's that? I think my brother was into that.
I just got it. I don't
That's
know.
the maze one, right?
I don't know.
It's the have you started it?
No, it just came today. I got
Oh,
it.
okay.
I got it signed by the author.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like a little limited.
How's your
edition
other
thing.
book? Let's go back to Tyler's book club. How's your other book going? You continue on with
Mistborn
that?
is good.
Mistborn's
Mistborn's good. Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Well,
Did you
because
listen to that
he
episode?
mentioned Sanderson, and
Yeah.
this is the fantasy author of our time right now. So it's like,
You're into it?
I think I only read. Did he do Red Rising trilogy?
No, that's coming Sunday.
Red Rising is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've read all 4 books. There's only 3. It's a trilogy. There's 3 There's Red Rising. Morning Star's the third one. I can't remember what. Golden Sun, I think, is the second one. Freaking tastic.
There's like 7 total.
Yeah.
It's like a trilogy and then another 4 or something.
That's
Yeah,
the
and then-
research department's favorite book.
Red Rising is?
Yes.
It is
Oh, okay.
great.
I have the first one, and I was supposed to finish it a long time ago. And
If you're talking about aliens and all this
Still in the
stuff,
middle of
like
it.
it's pretty
Is it
cool.
too? It's not because the way it was pitched to me was it was Hunger Games on Mars, and I don't love that.
I would not read too much into that
Okay, good.
explanation.
All right, because I just want some science fiction that's not Star Wars because I've been Star Warsed out.
This really connected to me at the steel mill level, which I'm not going to
Sure.
say anything else.
All right.
But this was a book I used to go to Permanis in the one close to me, and I used to sit at the bar alone reading the Red Rising trilogy. And
Damn.
it was really good.
Nice.
I hate reading. Unless if it's Dr. Seuss, love reading.
The reading, and I don't understand it because when I read, I get so sucked into it and I love it so much, and I just don't do it enough. Like I'll sit and I'll watch TV instead, or else I'll play a video game or whatever. And I'm just like,
Yeah, it's
Like, what are you doing? Like,
once you get started, you're good.
it's amazing,
but
and I'll sit
it's
there
hard
for
to get
hours.
started. Yeah. I have that problem with video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, dude, I could just I waste so much time on YouTube
Yep.
when it's like, dude, I could be knocking out a game I'm supposed
I'll
to
be
play.
looking at
It's
my
like-
library, but if I just picked one and played it, I
Yeah,
would
and then I
enjoy
have
it.
fun.
Yeah.
like I'm in it. I guess it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm like worried about the time commitment or something. Isn't that like it makes no sense?
As you're literally,
I know it
eating
makes no
time.
sense, but it's like I don't know.
I won't watch
My brain's
movies
weird.
because of that time commitment, but then I'll sit and watch 3-4 episodes of a TV show that's like an
Yeah.
hour long a piece.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, but I could stop after one episode of an hour. So it's like you only
Right.
commit to an hour in your head, but then you sit there for 6.
Yeah,
Like it's
It's
insane.
so weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
I do that with the anime. I just watch a lot of it. It's bad.
All right. Well, we're an hour in. Do you want to say your piece about any League of Legends stuff? You
100
two?
Thieves is shit, dude. Blow up the roster. I hope Doublelift doesn't retire.
Dude, he needs to retire.
He was good this year. His team was an anchor, like 100%. 100%.
Any tee up, any background we want to give to the not me obviously because I know 100% of
Yes.
what's going
Right.
on, but did you wanna-
Doublelift is my favorite player of all time. He's an 80 carry. He's been in the scene pretty much since the inception of it for like over a decade now. And he retired in 2020. And then he he always streamed. Like his stream was really popular. Like he's probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular player, at least in North America.
yeah.
So he just like went to streaming at that point or whatever, and I was like really sad about that because like he got me into the game and like that's why I started playing 80 carry. Anyways, he came back with Bjergsen, so I was like, this is like a dream come true.
Yeah.
These guys reunited, and then we talked about Bjergsen retiring mid-season,
Right.
and then now he just got knocked out. Like they did really bad this year. They were in 8th place. They barely made the playoffs because 8 out of 10 teams make the playoffs for some reason. And then they lost in the first round, obviously, because they just suck.
And that was last night.
That was last night. Was not his fault, though, dude. He did really well this year.
Okay.
His team was terrible, dude. They imported a Korean mid laner, this rookie, Quid, who everyone was saying.
just sounds wrong, right? Yeah, they imported this and
What?
no, you're,
You know something isn't right there.
yeah. It's,
Well, it's because Bjergsen retired all of a sudden, so they had to find someone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, we got to find someone good. So they took a shot on this Korean rookie. and everyone was saying how good he was, and he was just so horrible.
Yeah.
And I was waiting and waiting. I was like, he's going to pop off. He's going to pop off. Never happened. This dude is just like so bad. Their jungler was actually the worst player in the league by far. He had 1 first blood participation the entire split. That means, for those that don't know, Tyler knows, but that means the jungler, like first blood participation is an important stat for jungler because they're affecting the map. They're not constricted to a certain lane. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones that actually enable or make plays around the map because they have the freedom to do so, especially early game. The fact that he was not involved in a single one until the last week, I didn't even think it was possible. It was the worst performance I've ever seen for a season from a jungler, ever. It was so bad.
So what happens to him then? He gets just knocked off the team? Or you're saying the entire team just needs obliterated?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All right, Jeff, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. I think League is in a tough spot. It's in a tough spot, and especially with the change to Thursday, Friday, I didn't watch much this season. I can't imagine the numbers went up. Double Lift for me just needs to. He needs to enjoy his life with his hot girlfriend. I don't think his heart's in it. I really don't. Yes, he has these goals that he's never hit. He wants to hit them, but I think that time is come and gone. He's already got his North American titles. Whatever. He's not winning Worlds, dude.
He's not winning World. I just want to see him get out of groups once, dude.
It's not happening.
I just want to see this guy get out of groups. Groups is the World Tournament. At the end of the year, every region plays each other.
Yeah.
There's a group stage.
Yeah.
Getting out of it's hard to do.
Obviously, yeah.
And he's never done it, but he's the most successful player in North America by far. He's got like 7 or 8 titles. I just want to see him get out of groups. If he gets on the right team, just give me one more year. Just give me one more year.
Is he hamstrung because he's an American? Like he's in America? Like in
North America will never win Worlds. We're just not good enough. But we've gotten out of groups.
He needs to be imported into somewhere else.
Yes, true.
Exported it somewhere else.
Yeah, he needs to go to like T1, SKT.
You know what? It's a different mentality. It's a different structure. North America doesn't have that type of structure, and
we're too busy looking for the truth.
Well, no, and the trouble is that North America actually runs a pretty tight ship. These players are playing a shit ton of games during the week. They actually probably take better care of their physical health, of their mental health than a lot of the other regions, but we're just missing some type of mathematical discipline when it comes to team fighting, when it comes to objectives. Like, these teams and regions are always ahead of us on every step, and this goes back 10 years. It's been forever, and you would think that we would be able to come up with some type of system to overcome that, but we just haven't. And
I actually have a theory on this. I think
related to StarCraft.
I think it comes down to, in North America, there's an interest in a wide variety of games. So you have the top gamers that aren't all going into League of Legends, like somewhere like Korea, because that's like by and far the most popular only game. Like, you have StarCraft and stuff, but like League is like what Korea is known for. But here it's like, oh, you're really good. Could be CSGO, could be Valorant. How many fighting? We're really good at fighting games too. Like in North America, there's a lot of. So you imagine you take from the pool of people who commit themselves to gaming, and you're separating them out into all these different games. So you're losing talent there. Also, I think there's just an interest in other things in America. Like Korea, you go to Korea, they have like internet bars where you can go and League's on there, and you can just play League at a cafe. In America, it's like, no, we're into sports, we're into all these other things. I'm not saying that's all Korea's into, but I think there's much more of a focus. Like, gaming's taken very seriously there, whereas in
what's the youth aspect of League, because I was talking, and obviously my nephew's not like the end all be all, but like when he's talking about video games, because I was like, oh, we were in Barnes and Noble, and I pointed to like that League of Legends book, the Rune Nation or whatever. I was like, oh, hey, this is cool, and he was like, yeah, League, isn't that an old game? And I was like, you're not wrong, but is that also part of it, where you're not getting any of like the young, newer, like people that are like, he can run circles around anyone, and like Fortnite, they were talking about tournaments already and all that other stuff. It's like, are you missing out on that too, where you're not getting like the influx of like new talent or new like desire to learn all this stuff, because like, is it too bloated? Is it too far gone? Is it too old? Is it too whatever? Where you have your fan base and you have what you have, and obviously you'll get some, but you're not getting it to like Fortnite levels, to my knowledge. I don't know, but like, is that part of it? Does that play a thing where you go to Korea, everybody's playing it, and you have all the new generation playing it? Where do we have a new generation? I have no idea. I'm asking you guys, but like, do we have a new generation of League players in North America?
No, we definitely don't. And that's a great point too. Like, League's just not, it's a super high skill curve.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get into. Like, the client's super outdated, right? There's all these technical factors. Like the tutorial is awful. So it's incredibly hard to get into the game. So yeah, that definitely factors into it, of course.
I would just think that like kids have the time to go on YouTube, to read things, to watch things, to play things, to do trial runs, to beat your head against something.
Yeah.
Or is it the thing of, yeah, they have the time to do it, but if there isn't that instant gratification, which in my experience, League does not give you anything instant gratification. So
right.
Like where Fortnite still does, right? Like Fortnite does it, other games do it, where they give you, like, yeah, you might suck at something, but you're progressing somewhere. Where League, you'll just get beat down 50 games in a row before you...
They could save League, though, because I think it comes down to, like, I think a lot of the cool streamers don't play League. They play Fortnite or GTA,
yeah,
right? But, like, someone like Mr. Beast is, like, he loves League. So, like, if Riot incorporated people like that, like, could you imagine if Mr. Beast was, like, involved with professional League or whatever, how many people that would draw in?
Yeah.
Young people? I don't know.
I think, to your Mr. Beast comment, I don't think there's any saving North American League. I think that our state will never evolve from what it is now. I think gaming in general in North America is seen as an entertainment medium. It is not seen as something to be taken serious. It is not seen as something that you should be doing past a certain age. I think that stigma has definitely, still taken place. My cousins, I have 6 cousins who are all significantly younger than I, and I am the only one still gaming, and it kills me. I'm like, I have this one cousin. He just got into high school, and I'm like, oh, what are you playing? I'm like all hyped to ask him like what video games he's playing. He's like, are you kidding me, dude? I just joined the football team, and I don't play that anymore. I'm like, oh. Yeah, me either. Like, I don't yeah. But I just think that North America has a very different mentality about video games and what their purpose is. They are not meant to be something to take seriously. They are not meant to be a focal point. You don't do them past a certain point, and
you're kind of shamed about it a little bit.
I am. I mean, I'm not. I don't shame easily, but when my neighbors, oh, Jeff, what are you doing for work? I'm like, oh yeah, I just stream some entertainment content, and they're like, oh, like what? I'm like, oh, like a video games. I'm like, oh, you're still playing video games? Like, yeah. Like, how old are you? I'm like, oh, turning 35. So there is kind of that North American stigma. Is like, okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not working for a large company. I'm not, a salesman or this or that, or these positions that we strive to get into after college, where I think in Korea and China, some of these areas that might be a little bit more focused on academia, I think certain games like League of Legends, Valorant connect more with the academia aspect of it, of like driving home the numbers, driving home stats, driving home like this focus, this laser focus on there's a formula to it. You follow the formula, you win. And I don't think that is the same formula that North America has.
That's a good point.
I think that's fair for sure. And and then you look at like America or like Japan, and there's much more like creative, story-driven kind of gaming, right? Because that seems to like be more where those things, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like we're more from the creation aspect of it, I would say. Like most games are made by the U.S., right? Is that an accurate statement?
Well, I mean, there's U.S. type games and there are Japanese type games, Korean type. Like, I mean,
for sure. But
sure,
I'm just
I
saying,
guess.
like quantity.
The Western market is the biggest market in gaming. However, in terms of production, it's mainly North America, Japan, and like a few sprinkling of like Europe, and so you're not.
Yeah, that's so. I don't know.
Well, I guess my thing was like just because we don't get them here doesn't mean they're not being created. It's just we don't see them translated, imported, whatever. Like,
Okay, that's
there's
fair.
that aspect to it. So like,
sure.
You get like all these JRPGs that come over, but at the same time, like how many more are getting created that we just never see because they're never translated over.
Well, that's how like Final Fantasy started, right? Like there were ones we never got until years later.
Or it was numbered incorrectly, and
the whole structure of it
here, but,
right? Yeah. So,
anyway,
speaking about Final Fantasy,
love the segue.
Final Fantasy, we're on number 16.
Yeah,
a legendary series. So very exciting when a main number comes out. And we all played it. And we all have thoughts about it, so we're gonna talk about that and give a score, I guess.
I think so. My question to you guys, because I'm gonna see exactly what chapter I'm on.
Okay.
So I started this on Saturday.
Really?
I think it's been
1 week.
It's been 1 week.
There's either 44 or 48 chapters.
There's 68 chapters.
There's definitely not 68 chapters.
Yeah. So what happens is you have like the main chapter. And then you have like 3 sub chapters in the main chapter.
Oh, okay.
So that's
how many main chapters are there?
Well, I don't know
something?
because there are total. So like when you're talking like main missions where it says quest complete, there's 68 of those because it does give you a quest complete for each of those. So I'm splitting hairs. I'm just going by the things here. So I am on 63 of 68.
Okay.
So
you're
like
almost done.
Dang.
I'm pretty close. I'm going after the last dude before the last dude.
Right. Okay.
Which I'm assuming I didn't.
So no end game spoilers.
So maybe not like the end unless it's like a good argument, in which case like, sure, tell me. I think I have a pretty strong idea of where this is going unless there's like some crazy twist at the end that you don't see coming, but...
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk
about it.
that much about the end. I think it's we don't need to spoil that at all. It's a good ending, and I think we can just leave it at that. But there's plenty to talk about this game.
Yeah.
How do we want to break it up? I know, Jeff, you have notes.
I have some notes. Yeah.
Do you have it split on specific?
So I go setting, story, gameplay, art, and graphics.
All right, what's first
We
up?
need to add some sound in there.
We can do sound.
Because I actually have some thoughts on the music, and I definitely want to get yours, John. But
Yeah.
you want to lead us off as the guest that has way
baby.
more
Oh, man.
written down than either of us combined?
This is by far the most difficult Final Fantasy for me to talk about, mostly because it is so mysterious. There are so many decisions that they made making this game where while I was playing it, I'm asking myself, why in God's green earth would they have made this choice? Why did they do this? What were they thinking? And then there's other times where like, damn, that was cool. Like, yeah, like go Uncle Byron, you go, man. Like this is a game that there's such high highs, there's very low lows, and there's like these things in between that don't make sense. So for me, this game was just like a mixed bag of feelings that started off very low and somehow got really high and then kind of came back down, then got so looking at all my notes, I almost don't know where to start, but I think maybe starting with the setting, which is a very controversial topic online. Why don't we start there?
I love the setting.
Oh my god!
Wait, so when you mean setting, I mean like high fantasy.
Yeah.
Does like the I was going to say rated R.
Geographic locations.
Does the rated R nature of this play a factor into the setting? Because I know that's like.
I mean, that's
I don't know where that would be placed.
Is it rated R?
It is.
It's rated M. Yeah.
Mature.
Okay.
Which for Final Fantasy, that's unheard of.
I thought the M rating definitely helped it. I thought that was they were able to include things that definitely helped provide either shock or value to the story,
right?
And its setting.
I don't think they went far enough with it, in my opinion.
I don't know, dude. For Final Fantasy, it was crazy. Like that's you know, usually it's like really PG and.
But is that's not necessarily setting though? That's more like storyline, right? Like when I think of setting, I'm thinking like okay, like high fantasy, which I think I'm getting high fantasied out. Like I actually really like the setting of 15. I liked how it was kind of like modern a little bit, you know, like that way. And coming off of the Final Fantasy VII remakes, I like that aspect of Final Fantasy more than the old school like high fantasy. That being said, I do really enjoy the geographical things. I was actually shocked at how I think I followed it in terms of like, okay, this kingdom's here, this is here, there's all the geopolitical conflicts and things like that. Very Game of Thrones, which I know like that was what was kind of like, this is Game of Thrones. Like this is really Game of Thrones.
Right.
But I dug it and I liked like on a very, very base level, I liked that. I'll back off and let you guys talk about it. But
I'm with Tyler. I really enjoyed the setting. I thought the kingdoms were super cool and unique and interesting, and the areas were cool. I liked, and then like the lore that you're talking about, and I definitely want to talk about how they handle that. I guess we'll talk about that different because I thought they handled that super well. But I actually really liked the setting. I mean, it fit the story a lot. Like I think it was like a gritty place. It was like a gritty story. So I thought it matched up really well. And I like, are you tired of high fantasy just because of other things? Because like this is a return back to like they haven't done that in a long time.
No, definitely because of other things. And on the face of it, like I think it's very cookie cutter. So like I'm trying to think of the best way of saying it. Like I liked how the pieces came together. I just think that like I'm tired of maybe high fantasy, but I'm also tired of just like everything is so bleak. Like it's so just like I just got done playing X number of hours in Diablo.
Right.
I would say Diablo's probably even still maybe a little bleaker,
100%.
pound for pound. But like it was just like I need something that's a little bit more like. Can we have some pockets of levity? Can we have some pockets of like, oh, maybe the war hasn't reached this area yet? But this one is just like everything is very, very dark. So it's like it was a balance, and we'll get to that in the story, I'm sure. But I think just how all the different places fit together, what the central points and the motivations of the different places, I thought worked setting-wise. But Jeff, I know you don't agree with that.
I thought the setting was by far the weakest part of this entire game. I thought it was abysmal. I thought it was lacking soul. I thought it was lacking character. I thought it was lacking direction. I didn't find anything appealing really about this setting. So I don't want to say like I really disagree with you guys, but playing through this game, I was like, where are my cities? Where are my environments that I really like exploring in Final Fantasy? The same director that did Final Fantasy XIV did this game, and I almost couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on here? Outside of the town of Lostwing, which is not a spoiler, it's one of the very first towns you come to, I found very little interest in any of the locations. There was no Golden Saucer, there was no Midgar, there was no standout city other than maybe Sambrek. The Empire was pretty cool, but guess what? Well, I can't say this, but you don't get to interact with it that much. All of these empires just, for me, felt very hollow. I didn't even get a sense of scale in this setting. This is supposed to be massive empires and massive armies fighting each other, and I'm like, okay, cool. Where are all the people? Where are the people? I didn't even like, where are the NPCs? Where are all the people walking around? Like, it just felt like vast areas of grass to me that was unpopulated. And I think about The Witcher 3 and how that is also a very high fantasy setting, and how populated and charismatic just, the environments were, these little shacks that people lived in, and you believed you were there. And I'm like, this, to your point of cookie cutter, I was like, who made this? Like, what is going on here? And this was one of my big mysteries of the game. There's so many other good aspects to this game. How did they miss the mark so much on this setting? At least for me, I was surprised to hear you guys say that you liked it. But
so I think I actually completely agree with you. But I think what you're describing for me is more on like the graphics gameplay side of things, where trust me, we're gonna revisit that. I was saying, like, in terms of setting, when I think setting, I'm thinking, okay, like, what is the world? I think Midgar is very, very good. But after that, like, you have Midgar in Final Fantasy VII, but then, like, I don't really remember too much outside of that, where, like, with these, I felt like, okay, you have, like, these very kind of, like, set kingdoms and different things, and it was very Game of Thronesy. And maybe it was just because they really spoon-fed, like, and this is going to get a little bit more in the story, but, like, what's her name? Vivian, I guess, is the...
Yeah, she's the NPC there.
Yeah, like, between each of, like, your kind of, like, major battles, she's like, come here, don't interrupt. I'm going to show you this map and, like, really dumb it down and explain, like, why everyone's moving the way they are and what are the mysteries and stuff. And I thought that was actually, like... I thought it was going to be boring, but I was like, this is really... locking in the setting for me each time, and that's why I like the quote-unquote setting. I agree with you 100%, though. If you're talking about interacting with it or moving through it or anything like that, this, I don't think they've ever said this is open world. I guess in a way it could be, but like it felt very even the quote-unquote open areas was like, you have to follow this path. You can't jump over this log. You can't, like, so it felt very claustrophobic for a lot of that stuff. And a lot of the cool areas, you're getting to these areas after they're cool without giving too much away. So it's like, I can understand that from a gameplay graphic aspect to it. So maybe
I think the setting made sense, but I just don't, for me, it wasn't it. It's not what I wanted from a Final Fantasy game. It lacked that, and I'm going to say this many times as we go through this, but it lacked like that Final Fantasy texture for me. I wasn't seeing the different races. I wasn't seeing the chocobos. I wasn't seeing the airships and the grand reveals of some of these things that I saw like in Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy IX even. And I went back and watched some of the CG trailers of those old games, and I was blown away by some of them. And I'm like, man, like somebody, like, wasn't a mono, but somebody labored over these set pieces that, maybe there was one or two throughout this game, but I still feel like they did not hit. And I think about the Final Fantasy X cutscene where they're playing Blitzball, and I think, I can't remember the town's name, but like Auron's there and Tidus is there and Yuna, and and I'm just like, man, like that is like ingrained in my head, and I don't have any of that from this game, sadly.
Yeah, I think I think those things you're describing are definitely more vibrant, maybe more full of life for sure. But like I said, I think the setting really matches the story here. Where it's bleak, there's less color to it, but I think it's intentional. And then I totally agree with your point, Tyler. I think, yeah, if we're talking about like the world itself interacting with it, totally agree. It's like super barren, but I think the set pieces were really cool. All the mother crystals, super cool. I thought the scale actually was like done well. Like I felt super small, and this like you're looking up at these giant crystals. You see like the cities, but yeah, I think
scale in that regard is. But when you're talking about like moving around the continents, and it's just like you don't actually do that. So like in Final Fantasy 15, you're driving, you're moving, you're talking to like, and you're going place to place like quote unquote on foot. Mm-hmm. Here, I don't even think that's possible. To be fair, yeah. I was not inspired enough to even explore because it was like, this is just boring. I don't care. Like I'm just gonna hop to the next thing.
Right.
But like I don't even think you can go across on foot if you wanted to. Which I'm not saying that you have to do that, but like in terms of scale, yeah, from a small to large, and you're looking at these like massive like structures and like I think all that was sweet. But when you're talking scale in terms of like, okay, you're going across a continent, and that just involves opening up your map and clicking and holding. And it's like, and now you're here. And then it's like, here's this small little map that you can kind of go through your section here. You're going to fight 6 waves of enemies, and then you're going to hit the boss or whatever. Like, I think that's where I felt it like kind of claustrophobic and constrained, and not really like open world or vast or like, look at all these possibilities. Like, the possibility is instead of going left where you know you need to go, you can go right 50 feet, kick open a chest, and then go left. I think that's kind of where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I mean, we're bleeding
agree.
into like gameplay and other stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can go to the next one,
Sure.
but setting wise, like I like the kingdoms. That's it. I like the set it, like the time period, the kingdoms, the way like each of their individual things. I think that was, I think, realized and done well from a story perspective.
I think going into the story, this was one of the strongest points of the game for me. I think this story, a lot of Final Fantasies talk about environment. They talk about, the effects that we have on the earth. It's very like Studio Ghibli. It's very Japanese. So I was very surprised to hear a story that talked a lot about class and class structure, and I got a huge sense of that from a lot of the side quests. And for some reason, I think this game was able to pull it off so much better than Tales of Arise, which I'm going to beat this horn until I die. IGN gave Tales of Arise a 10 out of 10, and it is the worst review I've ever heard in my life. Sorry, IGN. But this game pulled off the exact same story of class that Tales of Arise tried to pull off, but couldn't. And they did it, in my opinion, tremendously. But I want to hear what you guys think about the story before I go on, because Tyler, you said you were a little bit bored, but
yeah, I think the story beats are awesome in that I love, like, again, going back to like the Game of Thrones-esque thing of everyone kind of doing their own thing, and you have all the different kingdoms, you have all the different like their own agendas, and I think that was done really well when you saw those things. So through just flash cutscenes, like it just takes the camera away from your guy completely. Like, you're not even a part of that, and it's like, we're gonna go across the continent and go and just check on these guys, see what's going on. And every time they did that, I'm like, I'm enthralled. I love this. I love seeing all like the different characters interacting and talking and going through all their, niceties and fake whatevers and stuff. And like, I think all of that is awesome. I think the overarching of like, hey, we got to destroy all these crystals or whatever. Again, like, it's kind of mild spoilers, but like, it's you'll see like, okay, this is what we have to do to save the world or to do whatever. I think all of that was really well realized. I think that I felt motivated. I think it had I know you said like the opening wasn't necessarily strong, but I thought it was a very strong opening in that like I played through the demo and I was like, all right, let's see the demo, and I was like, bought it immediately. I was like, this is sweet. We're gonna keep going. I thought the opening was really like it made you want to go through and play through and see stuff. And I thought even like the different time skips made sense and like you're still catching up. But it's like I think all of that was really good story wise. What you're talking about with like different side quests and things like that, I think everything in between the main story beats is boring as hell.
Whoa, okay.
I think like story wise, whenever you're progressing the story, I've never been more engaged and loving it, loving all the acting, loving all of like the different interactions and stuff. But like just getting that story moving, I was like falling, like literally falling asleep. Now, to be fair, I've been trying to like grind it, so I'm playing a lot of it. But it's just like, dude, if I'm fighting or if I'm watching the story, I'm in, I'm loving it. I think it's the best game in the world. As I'm talking to people and running from this end of the map to this end of the map for no reason than to like talk to somebody, like that is just mind numbing to me. Where like I could not care less what they have to say.
Okay.
But
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of your points. Story for me, one of the strongest, if not the strongest element. I was engrossed in this story. I was captivated by it from the beginning. I love the dark tone of it. I know I agree with your point where it's like all dark. I would have liked a little bit more levity as well, but
you get spots, but like generally,
it's a lot of darkness, death, and deceit and betrayal and stuff. But I just was captivated. I found myself thinking about it. When I turned the game off, like at night, and I can't wait till I get back to it. I want to see Clive's journey continue and like what is he going to do. And like you mentioned, I love when they cut to other characters and I care about them just as much. Like, I guess we'll go into characters later, but every time they go to Dion, I thought that's some of the best parts of the game, dude. He was such a great character. It was so interesting. The politics with it, they did such a great job. Very Game of Thrones-esque, which I've never seen, but I could see why people like that stuff. It's like really good. I love the story, but I agree with you. The pacing was not good. I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Like the pacing is where there was problems. Like you would have the most epic, over the top moment, crazy plot twist, betrayal or something, and then it would be followed by just downtime, side quests and shit. And I'm like, I just want to see what happens, but I want to do these other things too. So like, I totally get the frustration there. It definitely, I wish it did a little bit better job of that. Like, less time in between those big points, because when it hits, dude, and you have that epic moment and that crazy reveal or whatever, it is just like, it's so 10 out of 10. I am so glued to the screen. There's so many times where like I shed a tear at these beautiful moments, or just my mouth was agape at this. I couldn't even believe what I was watching. I was like, this is insane. This is the craziest thing. Like there's one particular fight where I don't want to spoil it, but I was like, this is like Dragon Ball Z, dude. What the fuck is going on?
I feel like there were multiple fights
there
like
was,
that.
but there was one in particular where it gets so crazy and my mouth is agape. And some people maybe it takes some people out of it, but that's like right up my alley. I'm just like, let's push it to the next level. Let's like, this can't get any crazier. This can't get any crazier. Oh shit. They're like, it is amazing. So, story overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of its strong points, and I think two factors that have to do with it. I think the script was great, and they really know what they wanted to do. It's not the most convoluted thing ever, but I think it was really nice balance between like a lot of things going on, but not too much to get you confused. Right, easy to follow along. The characters were amazing. I really liked a lot of the characters and connected with them and cared about them. And then the performances were fantastic. The voice actors were so good. I think it really brought everything to life.
I mean, characters are such a big part of stories. I don't know if we want to kind of like bleed into characters a little bit, but I mean, that like I'm not a huge whenever there's like, you're my brother, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, and that maybe I'm just a sociopath. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't get that feeling.
Yeah.
But I will say they did it very well where I actually believed them. Like, am I going to be like shedding a tear of like, but like, it was probably about as close as I would come whenever it's like, oh, this brother's bond, oh, this family member. Like, you talk about Byron, I'm just like, when he's like crying, I'm like, yeah, man, I could see it. And it's like, it was believable. And I think that's a huge, huge thing where those interactions, I believed. I just think that, like, to your point, when you're talking through like different characters and the interactions and stuff, I thought everyone else was so much more interesting than anyone you're talking to in your base. Like, it was like, dude, I don't give a shit what Otto's thinking. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, to the point of like, and this was actually fairly towards the end, but like we come back after this insane thing. Like, it was just like, oh my God. And Otto's like, hey, meet me before you go out. I'm like, all right. And you run across your base and go talk to me. He's like, hey, good luck out there. And that's literally it. And it's like, what, dude, come on, man. I got better things to do. Like, it's mind boggling where you have, you think about your Final Fantasy, and 10 and 7 are like, they're very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so like those, and even 15, but like, I felt like so much closer to all those different characters within your party than I did with like your quote unquote party that is getting swapped in and out so much that like you're supposed to care about Gab and you're supposed to care about Jill. And I think I've come around on Jill, and I do want to talk about her a little bit, but it's just like, I don't really have like, oh, I love Aaron, I love Waka, I love, Barrett's amazing. Oh, of course I'm going for Tifa. Like, I don't have any of those connections. Short, like, honestly, your dog is like the closest connection that you like. After every major fight, I'm petting that sucker. Like, right. That's the only real connection I personally felt. Short of, like now that the like brotherly love type stuff, sure.
So I just have a couple quick points to that first. I think one, a lot of the side quests actually go into some of that stuff. Like Otto, for example, if you did none of his side quests, totally agree. But there's like one in particular where I was floored it wasn't like a main quest, because it like really explores his relationship with Sid. And I like teared up when at the end of that quest. And it was like a really cool quest. And it was, you get a flashback and it was crazy. So I was like, how is this not a main quest? Like, this is important. So like, if you skip that, yeah, you're like, Otto's so dumb, dude. Like, he says two things to me. So,
but then that's the pacing, right? Like, put that in the main quest line where you're fleshing it out, and you're not just go here and collect star sand.
Yes, but like, I think the second point to that, and this goes back to kind of Jeff's overall point with this, where it doesn't really feel like a Final Fantasy, because traditionally your Final Fantasy, such an important aspect is your party. You have a big party. You meet all these interesting and unique people, and you can swap them in and out, and you can customize them, and you can do this and that, like the job system. And that's all lacking here. And I know this isn't really with characters. Well, it's kind of with characters, more gameplay stuff. But that's crucial, because that's where you make a lot of those connections. And the fact where you can only play as Clive, and people are getting swapped in or out, and it's not your choice, I think that definitely factors into it as well. So, but I don't know. I really like, because I did all the side quests. I really like the main cast. I think Jill's great. The scene with Clive and Jill. You don't like Jill?
Dude, there is one scene, the scene where they're just suddenly naked out of nowhere. Like, what is that? You're just wet. So, like, instead of sitting by the fire and drying off, no, we got to take our clothes off. Like, that one scene, and that's where I was like, I'm coming around a little bit. But, like, after that scene, she goes right back to being just blank stare. Like, I don't care about her at all. And maybe it's because of the side quest, but I was just like, dude, you had one good moment, and like, I get it.
I thought they had a few. I don't know.
I think this game is just, the characters are very hard to identify which ones are we'll say like MVPs. Like, for me, Dion, probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters ever. Like, so much more than Clive. Like, and you never even get to play as Dion. I think Dion's story absolutely rules. Mm-hmm. I don't really find Clive that compelling. I think that he falls into the traps of most Final Fantasy protagonists of being one note and one direction. They don't have any type of change in their story. They're driven towards one goal. They hold that steering wheel in one direction the whole way through, and that's kind of it, and that's okay. But I also feel like they did Jill absolutely dirty. You know, we have two of the characters that are like your main playable characters. I thought she had one tiny moment kind of in the early parts of the game, and they like almost like robbed her of it. They were like, no, you're not going to be this strong, empowered character. I never felt like Jill was what she was, and I'm not going to spoil it. You guys out there who are playing it or have played it probably get where I'm going. Jill should be this absolute like badass, and she's just kind of like a side note compared to all the other like badasses in the game. It's like, wait, this is what Jill should be. Why is she down here when everyone else is up here? So I thought they really dropped the ball on Jill, but Dion was awesome. Uncle Byron, Quentin of Lost Wing, his revenge story side quest, I thought was like awesome. I had no clue why Quentin was the way he was until you do his side quest. I loved Mid. Mid has a side quest that, to John's point, probably had me the closest to tears. I was like, Mid is awesome.
But like Mid comes in at like the last back end of the game, and she's infinitely more
I know,
likable and distinct and unique, and just like she like okay, like there you go. There's your was it the who not Yuna, but who's the other one? Riku. Yeah. Like there you go. Like there's your kind of like parallel there, but it's just like she just has way more personality than Jill did. Like it was just like everyone just seemed, and maybe like to be fair, I was going through the main quest line versus the side quest, but it's like it just seemed so like everyone is talking like this and they're all gruff and everyone, but then you get Byron, you get Mid at the end of the, and it's just like they're funny and bright and like they're still serious, but they're just like, I don't know. It was just like they just seem to be more distinct. Maybe that's what it is just we need something that's a little bit more like distinct or something you can attach yourself
I don't
to.
know. Just because Jill's stoic, I don't think makes her a bad character. I agree with your point, Jeff. In terms of power level, they did her super dirty. She's so useless. And there's like several points where she like could have popped off, and I was waiting for it. I was like, dude, what? Yeah. So I agree with that. But I think her character herself, I really like Jill personally. Is she the best character ever? No. But just because she's stoic and serious, I don't think makes her a bad character.
Yeah, but they didn't.
You have to like consider her backstory, what she's went through. And like her and Clive, that's why I actually really like their character. Because if you think about Clive, he's this prince. He's nobility. Like he's, supposed to be a certain way. And they just completely flip it on its head where he's like the outlaw now. He's gruff. He's dirty. Like it wasn't his destiny to be this. And they talk about like destiny a lot. And I think it's super intentional. And he's like conflicted with himself because he was supposed to be one thing. And now he's completely the opposite of that. And you can see him struggling with it the entire game. And he's trying to do the right thing despite of it. I think it's super interesting. I like it a lot. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like personally, I saw where they were going with it, and I enjoyed that character a lot. And
Clive. Well, so you're moving to Clive, but Clive is my favorite protagonist for Final Fantasy. I think like I actually like him more than Cloud. I'm just saying that.
That's fair.
So I agree with you there. Like I thought I was gonna just,
but I thought their stories were tied. Don't you feel like they're tied together?
And again, maybe this is just a detriment of me not playing like enough side quests and things like that. And to be fair, like the only side quests that I were doing originally were all those exclamation mark ones, which are meaningless. Like they just don't matter. And then I realized, if it's a plus sign, that actually gives you something nice. Yeah. That's how I got my Chocobo today. It
I was gonna say
chapter like 55 or something.
You're not even close to the end.
rules.
No, yeah. So I got them,
great.
and then I couldn't use them at all because it's all like so anyway.
Yeah.
But with Jill, I think they didn't. So I know that she had this arc of like I'm a monster and all this other stuff, but then they still fell into this like RPG trope of the bad guy is holding her by her arm, and now she can't actually do anything. And then, like, just like stuff like that. That's like, and now there's these magic handcuffs that you don't see again, but it's just the story driven. Like, if I put these on you, you can't change. But it's just like,
Very
come
Divinity.
on. Yeah,
Very-
but
yeah.
it's just like, I just felt that one scene where like they're at the fire and maybe I was just distracted because they were naked, but it's just like that felt touching and that sold it to me. There was one moment when they were like, I guess she was getting better on a bed or something, and they like leaning in for the kid, and it was like, oh, someone runs that, and like,
Yeah, but
I was
in the barn
starting to
too,
see parts of it.
where they're sitting in the barn.
That's
and
in
they're
the
looking
beginning.
Up the,
I think the beginning was extremely strong, and that's my point. It's
Yeah.
like when he got her, whenever she was fighting Titan, whenever it was like, oh, dude, this is sick, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna like, oh, I can't believe this is Jill. Like that was like awesome. That's what made me buy the game, and
Yeah.
then from that point on, it was like this just big dip of like, hey, I'm gonna be here. Cool. Like
I don't know.
I don't know.
I liked it.
It's just like she's awesome when she needs to have a story beat, but I can count on one hand the number of times when I'm just like, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm talking to you. Most times it's just like, it's either this exposition of just like, this is what we have to go collect, or this is what we have to do. And I'm just like, dude, I don't. She's not a Yuna. She's not a
No,
Tifa. She's
no,
not Aerith. Like,
she's not.
I can name every other. She's not freaking Lightning. like
People like Lightning, bro.
right, but that's what I mean. Like, it's just like she's inconsequential. Like she's like,
I disagree. I think she is Clive's rock. Like it's all about Clive, okay? And she's like a pillar to Clive. So like alone, yeah, maybe you're right.
dude,
but like
Yote,
I think it's
Yote from with Josh. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
did her, unless I'm just didn't get to it yet. They did her dirty, where I thought she was more interesting than Jill. I thought her
was
interactions with
cool.
Josh and her in the way she was talking with him and just like, I thought she was just a better character. And you see her like a tenth of the time.
it's fair.
That's just I don't know. That's
Yeah.
I agree with Tyler. I really do. I'm glad that you got so much out of Jill. I'm
I
legitimately
think she's
glad.
cool. Like again, I'm not saying she's the best ever. I know a lot of the other Final Fantasy girls are way better than her. I get it. I
The
just
waifus.
I just don't think she's as bad as you're saying. I got things out of it. I liked her.
It's just whenever Clive is going and attacking people, which he does a lot of,
True.
I believe him that whenever he's like, "You gotta die," like, okay, like I believe you that there's something there, and I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But when Jill is going to kill what's his face in what tower of whatever, it was like, dude, I don't know. Like they couldn't even let her do that. They had to
right.
Yeah,
No,
she got
that-
like a
that
slash
was-
off at the end, but it's
That
like
was a
it's still
huge
Clive.
missed opportunity.
It was
I
just
agree.
like I didn't even believe that because you're like, I don't want to be a monster. It's like, okay, like I didn't feel like it was earned. And again, maybe they fleshed out in like a side quest or something.
No,
but like
no, you're right.
during that arc, I was like, I know what we're doing, but this feels like filler to me. And I feel bad saying that because it's such a important piece of her arc.
Yeah.
But I was like, this feels like you're just shoehorning this in, so I'm not immediately going to the next thing and dunking on the next boss.
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
agree. No, I think you're right. All right, what's up
Byron's
next?
awesome.
Byron's
great.
pretty cool.
Who's your favorite character? So
Dion.
you like
by
Dion,
far. I think Dion.
Clive.
Clive,
Yeah.
and I could see both of those. Byron's pretty.
Byron's fantastic.
I love Byron.
I would say mine is probably goes like Dion mid, and then maybe Byron. I do like Byron a lot. He's just that oh boy, comedic relief. But
Yeah.
I don't like. I think Gav, Jill,
Gav was bad. Jill.
Yeah. and why though? Like Gav is your levity. Like Gav is like I actually loved Sid. I just think that you lost Sid.
I was
You
gonna
lost
say,
Benedicta
dude,
way too early. Like it was
Civ
just like,
was
man.
fantastic. He's one
Yeah.
of my favorites. Mine's like Clive, Dion, Civ. Probably like Sid is my top three.
I don't.
Sid
I
was
just-
great.
Yeah, Sid was cool. There was multiple times during the story where I just thought to myself, okay, we know what we are as characters. We know what Jill is. We know what Clive is. We know what Sid is. And I'm just kind of like racking my brain of like, how are they in this position that they're in with the tools that they have? And it didn't really add up in my brain. I just the Jill thing, I don't know why I'm harping on so much, but it really did just mess with me, especially with her being like your only other party member. And I'm like,
but party member, like to your point, John, like party member is such a loose term. It's like,
is.
Who do you want to go with you?
Yeah.
And I was
Doesn't
like, I
matter.
don't care what cursor, like what name is the cursor on by default, because I'm just jamming on the X button to like move forward with it.
Yeah.
Where like there is zero, it does not matter at all.
Which is a negative. Like to me, that's such a vital piece of Final Fantasy.
Like
It's
you get no character story. I guess you can like walk out and it's like Gav talks to you a little bit. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't care, man. We've got some.
I like the philosopher guy more than Gav.
Yeah.
Forget
He
his
was
name.
cool. Yeah.
Philosopher guy was
Tomes.
hilarious.
All right, what's next?
Gameplay.
What'd you think of it, Jeff?
Oh, I so most of my categories are like weak point, strong point, weak point. Gameplay is strong point, weak point. I can't wrap my head around this because I knew from the beginning of this game, as soon as there was not a party, as soon as there wasn't like a 4-person party, I was going to be like, oh, am I going to like this? The moment-to-moment action gameplay I felt was super addicting. You are hitting a lot of the same buttons and getting the same results for the majority of this game. And for some reason, for me, I did not lose that enjoyment like at all hitting those buttons. It felt great. However, the customizability was so lacking that I was like, is this an RPG? And I know this is an argument that happened a lot, on the internet, but this just felt like an action game to me. And in my head, I was thinking, how cool would it be instead of, for the listeners out there, this basically Final Fantasy has a rotation system where you rotate between 3 different powers. And in my head, I'm like, why didn't they just rotate through 3 different party members and have a full roster of party members? And
Oh, you mean like 15?
well, kind of. And it's like I would have been more connected to these characters, and instead I'm just playing one character with kind of elemental abilities. I don't know if people see that as spoilers and if I talked about what they really are, but I really did enjoy the gameplay. I thought it was incredibly, like, way too easy, and we'll get to that later, but you could definitely see the DNA of Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO, and this game, and how they're connected. It was very well done. But again, I was with as much that I liked about it and those super high highs and those awesome boss fights, there came to this time where I'm like, but wait, like, I really wish I was using different abilities. I wish I had, that cool side character with me, because you just don't. You're Clive. I thought the hunts were pretty fun. I actually felt like some of the hunts were the best boss fights in the game, aside from maybe like 1 or 2 of the mainline boss fights. But I enjoyed it in the form of an evolution of Final Fantasy 15 to this game. I thought it was pretty damn well done, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
You want me to go?
Are we going down the spectrum? I don't know.
I enjoyed the gameplay quite a bit. I thought it was fun. The combat was really cool. I personally like you mentioned, Jeff, the elemental portion of it. There's a lot of customizing factors that you can do there. Like, you can mix and match, and there's a lot of cool combos that you can kind of do. So I had a lot of fun, kind of playing with that and seeing which ones I liked, and getting all these sick combos, seeing the damage, like when you stagger someone and just trying to get the biggest number you can get. Like, I thought that was a lot of fun. I agree. Totally a missed opportunity. I mean, you just made Final Fantasy VII Remake, which you can swap party members. And then not only that, the party members are like unique. So like depending on who you're facing, you might switch to like a Barrett who can blast someone out of the air, and then switch to a Tifa that can just beat the shit out of them. Tifa was the best, dude. But like, yeah, that was huge. Like, how much cooler would Jill be if you could have swapped to her and then started beating the shit out of people, and like actually she would be OP at that point because you're controlling her, like, or Torgal. That would have been sick. You could have played as a dog. That would have been unique. That would have been cool. So yeah, I agree. I think that's a huge miss. Just like the party component, man. That's like what Final Fantasy is all about. It's like you stacking up your party, making them as OP as possible. That's where a lot of the connection comes from. When you're one-shotting everyone, when you have a volleyball and you throw it at someone's face and they take 9. You know what I mean? Like that's sick. That's what it's all about. So yeah, I don't know. But overall, I thought it was super fun and engaging. And I respect the fact I'm not a difficulty guy. As you know, I'm an easy guy. So it didn't bother me. But I understand where people are coming from, where the game's too easy, and that could take away from it.
It's hard to lose. It's hard to lose a fight.
Right. So like, because there's so much potential there. Like, imagine if it was harder. Imagine if you actually had to use specific abilities to counteract what the enemies were doing instead of just like a spam fest. I think it would have been much more interesting for those type of players. But overall, I thought the game, the combat itself was a lot of fun. Are we just talking combat or just overall gameplay?
We can talk whatever you want.
Because like
gameplay.
Other aspects of the gameplay is super weak. Like, was this even an RPG? Like, where are the RPG elements like at all? Right? Like the items are non-existent, except for like the trinkets you get, I guess, which is like you get 3 of them. So like that was like super weird. I never felt the need to like go explore to get items or something, which you would think like that's what RPGs are all about, like getting the loot. So that kind of sucked. Yeah, I don't know. So,
I raged at items.
Yeah,
raged.
The gameplay sucks. Like, it sucks.
the combat?
It sucks.
The combat sucks?
It sucks. Look, here's
Let's
the thing.
hear it.
Here's the thing.
Wait, what?
The combat, I agree with you, is engaging. The first, I don't know, 20 hours. But when you're literally doing the exact same thing where it's like you go into a boss fight and it's up to that point, it's like, all right, we're going to clear off 10 guys. Cool. That's your one ultimate clearer. Then another 10 guys come. Cool. That's your second ultimate clearer. Another guy comes, but this guy has a big health bar. Cool. Kill him. Might take a couple extra hits. You might get a refresh and you can clear him again. And then you just do that over and over and over and over. And then you have all of these cool powers that are all different things, and you can only use half of them at any given point. So you can invest in, and at least they let you refund your points for free. There's
freely.
that benefit, because I never would have tried a new point. But it's just like you can only have 3 cool things in any given time. And it's just like the only time I changed it up is because I was so bored of throwing a lightning bolt at some guy for the 100th time that it's like, cool, let's see what these wings do, or I guess I'll ice somebody. It's one of those things where, to your guys' points, like the items don't matter. Oh, this boosted my attack 5 points. Cool. There's no elemental stuff. There's no literally anything. You only get 2 trinkets because I think the third trinket is literally, hey, you know that cool thing where you can tell Torgal to do a bunch of stuff? What if you just put a ring on and he just does it himself?
Biggest DPS increase.
That thing went on with the first 5 minutes of the game. I never took it off.
I know.
I have a tan line with that ring on just because it's like, okay, well, clearly but I will say part of the reason why I hate that, I almost took it off, was because how many times, Torgal, kill him, get him, boy, like every time. And it's just like, oh my goodness. So it's just one of these things where it's like the combat is engaging, absolutely, but does it ever require you to actually be engaged? Because they literally stop the combat at different points and say, this guy's going to boost what... I'm like, no, he's not, because I'm just going to hit this one button and he's going to be the first one to go, because they're always the weak ones, right? So like the casters, it's like, well, I know that any casters can pose any type of problem as long as I turn my little Phoenix spinny thing on. That wipes them out immediately 100% of the time. So it's like, okay, so you're just going point to point to point to point. You're going through these lifeless rooms. I've gotten turned around so many times because the hallways look so identical. I went back the way I came because the doors are the same. There's no like, oh, clearly I'm, and there are exceptions. So I don't want to like just crap all over the entire thing. But it's like the filler of like, I go in here, I clear this thing real quick, and I go back. Like, it's just like, it was so repetitive that's fine if it's a 20-hour game, but when it's a 40-plus hour game and you're doing the exact same thing, you're fighting the exact same enemies. Oh, these guys have shields now. Cool. Fire. And it's just like your sword means nothing. Like, all the powers are cool, but it's like you're just slashing at guys while you're waiting for your abilities to build up. That's all it is. So I felt like that was just so bad. And then like you guys were saying, the item's non-existent. It's not like you get armor. Like, yeah, you get like a cuff that doesn't change your appearance. You get, the only thing that changes is the sword, right? Yeah. And even then, the sword is so negligible, like it doesn't matter. And you have so much, and maybe it's just because it's like on easy mode or whatever, but you have so much money. It's like, oh, this sword's worth 4,000. Cool, give me 20 of them. I still have more money than I know what to do with. And it just, like, none of it, like, there's no, to your guys' point, like, RPG aspect of it. And I think that mixed with everything in between is so freaking slow, where it's like, I was just harping about it on Diablo, and Diablo looks like it's a freaking speed fest compared to this, where it's like, you talk to this person, cool, now talk to this guy, and this guy. Oh, yeah, I know they're on 3 separate corners of your base, but it's not to pad anything out.
Can't run in your base.
I pulled my hair out. I would take a drink or like go get water every time you have to hand someone something, because it's the animation of you like reaching in your back for nothing to hand someone something off screen so then they can reach it, nothing, and put it behind their back. Meanwhile, it's like, here's the steel that will make your ship work. And it's like, where'd you hide that from? It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, all of that being said, all of that I deal with because the gameplay of the boss fights, and even though it's just, let's call it bullet sponging, damage sponging, whatever, it's so damn cool that it's like, I'll deal with all of that just to get to those giant set pieces, because those set pieces, I keep going by like, this is a garbage game. I can't wait to shock you guys with how low I'm going to score this. And then I get to a boss fight, and I'm like, oh, this is such a great game. Like, I can understand why people think this is the coolest thing in the world. It's just like, make up your mind. Like, it is a roller coaster of like, getting from the sweet boss fight to the sweet boss fight, I hate. But those sweet boss fights are so good that I don't want to say it's worth it, because I think ultimately I'm actually upset of how many hours I've put into this game. But it's, let's call it worth it, where it's like, just to see the story, just to see the interaction, just to see what crazy thing they're going to do with this boss fight, I think it's fine. Normally, boss fights are exhausting for me a little bit, where it's like, I'm just going to keep hitting you over and over and over again. But they do staging so well, and there's some talking, there's some interactions, there's some like kind of these spectacle things that, yeah, you're kind of just chipping away at this giant health bar, but they do it in a better way than like anything in Diablo, anything. I know they're different games, but you know what I mean. Like that's my 2 cents. All right, sorry. Sorry.
I'm actually surprised on how much I kind of disagree with you, especially on the boss fights, because for me, yes, those spectacles, there were some really cool boss fights in there. But for some of them, that's when I was going and grabbing a drink and like, all right, well, all my abilities are on cooldown. I guess I'll just tap square here. You know, like you said, they're huge sponges. Some of them, huge highlights of the game. Some of them, for me, I was sitting there like, when is this going to get over? When can I get back to the story or see what the repercussions of this boss fight are? They were all visually incredible, and I actually don't know how the game pulled it off. I've never seen combat
by going
graphics
at 25 frames a second. That's how they pull it off.
But that's the thing. I felt like the fights ran better than the non-fights. Like, I had better performance during the combat than I did out of the combat. I was like, what is going on behind the doors of this game? Like, what is?
You should
why
watch
is it like
the Digital Foundry video on
they
that.
dig into it.
Were you on performance mode?
No, because I didn't see the increase. So
Performance mode, they went to find fights just so it would run at 60 frames. So they would like kite people just so they get like performance.
Well, that's why I took it off of performance, because I wasn't seeing it. I was like, I'm still seeing dips. I'm still seeing this. I was like, I'm going to put it on fidelity, so at least it looks good.
Right.
Does it look that different? I couldn't tell a real big difference.
I played it
between
on
the two.
graphics mode, which is, as you know, a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I hate 30 frames. But I just like the steadiness of it, because the dipping takes me out of it. When I can
Gotcha.
notice, like, I will adjust to 30 after a while, but the constant flux, I hated it.
I think the biggest rage moment for me was when I learned that there was a Final Fantasy mode that unlocks after you beat the game, and that was the intended difficulty level that the developers wanted you to play this game at. And I was like, why the fuck would you do that to me? Because you know me, like, this game was not from a difficulty level entertaining to me at all. I thought it was sorely lacking. I didn't get really any of that payout that I get from, struggling with something and then defeating it, even if it's only like 1 or 2 deaths. So I was very disappointed when I heard about that. I don't have it in me to play this game again just to experience the intended difficulty. I don't know why they wouldn't just give that to you as an option from the start. And going back to the items, there was at one point I was like, oh, sweet, I got Excalibur. Like, in my head, I'm like, Excalibur, that's a Final Fantasy staple. That's a powerful sword. And then, like, I finished a mission and I came back to my home base and I went to the blacksmith. I was like, oh, maybe I can upgrade Excalibur, or maybe I can do something with this new boss loot that I got, craft something new. And it's like, oh, this green +1 like regular sword is now stronger than Excalibur. And I was like, fuck this.
But
I was
like, you would
no.
think that, okay, that's green. Excalibur, I assume, is the purple one.
Yes.
You would think that it would give you some sort of extra thing
Right.
to and it's just nothing. It's like,
Oh, it drove me nuts. So that's why I say I think there was a lot to like about some of the gameplay here. I think that it also was lacking a lot. And I think that's the story of this game for me. There is a lot to like, and there's a lot to you wish or question or like what happened.
No, I think that's fair. I think a lot of people feel the same way, right? That seems to be the consensus. Like, people feel confused about how they feel about it. Because the highs are very high, the lows are very low. I think that's definitely the overall thought. Was there anything else we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on, Jeff?
I have a couple of points you guys can touch on if you want.
Yeah.
Mostly related to the art graphics of this game.
We need to talk about the music.
Music, for sure. I was missing Amana's artwork. I felt like it was completely lost on this game, and I think that was part of the medieval setting. I talked about that Final Fantasy texture not being there for me. Mm-hmm. I really missed it. This is going to sound super petty of me, but I missed the pre-rendered cinematics. This pre-rendered cinematics for me and how they are incorporated in a Final Fantasy game to give me that huge spectacle, to give me that scene that isn't capable to be rendered in game. Like, that is a staple for Final Fantasy and a lot of RPGs for me. I always think back to that Tidus and Yuna scene when they're in the water and Yuna's crying, or I think about Yuna's wedding to Seymour, and these just huge things that
Sin's coming in, Orange just
Yes.
standing there with everything. Like, yeah, 100%.
And I watch them over and over on YouTube, or like I'm on the phone with a buddy. I'm like, okay, are you ready to press go? Like, we're going to watch this cinematic together, even though we already watched it 5 times together. Like, are you ready to hit play? Like, these are things that I'm used to seeing in a Final Fantasy, and they were non-existent in this game. There might have been one for like 20 seconds, but I almost couldn't tell. And you're like, oh, well, Jeff, if you couldn't tell, that means the graphics are so good that they're basically cinematic. No, I'm sorry. It just wasn't the same. Character designs, I'm sorry. Like, yes, some of these characters were exciting. Nobody's going to be cosplaying as Uncle Byron. Nobody's going to be cosplaying as, like, you know, some of the, yes, I talk about how much I like Dion and some of these other characters, but the character designs themselves, again, for me, felt like they were missing that Amano flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually like trying to think of, like, obviously like Clive has this like edgelord like look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I can't think of anything that's like, oh, this is, you would be able to pick him out of other Final Fantasies or even.
Well, I just think of even like Vivi or Steiner, Freya, Yuna, Auron, Kefka, and I made a list here of like Terra from Final Fantasy VI, Cecil, Kain, Cid, Yang, Palinporum, and these like iconic Tifa. Like, how iconic is Tifa? I don't think you have that iconic character in this game outside of Dion for myself, and I would argue that that's a stretch.
I bet you couldn't. Could you draw Dion right now? Not his face, but like what he's wearing.
Yeah, I think I could.
You could?
I think
Okay.
I think I could. I think Jill's actually costume is pretty okay. But aside from that, I thought it was a huge step back. But I also like absolutely hated Final Fantasy's character design, and I hated how similar all the four bros were. I know that's not the
for
consensus
15, you mean?
there. Yeah, I'm sorry, for 15. I know that's not the consensus, but that is a big reason why I fell off of 15 so hard, was because even though there was a party there, it wasn't diverse at all. It was just four white guys, taking photos and going on a road trip. That didn't do it for me for a Final Fantasy game. But those are my thoughts of like the art design, the graphics. It just, oh man, it didn't hit.
You know,
for me.
you know what took me out graphic wise? Whenever he's putting his sword behind his back, the angle that he's putting the sword, you cannot put it in the hilt that he's putting it in. At least, like, you look at Kratos and he puts his arm behind his back and he hooks it in the hook. I don't care that the hook's kind of just there and just weird and everything, but at least the physics make sense. But when you have this massive sword that you put in there and it's like in the middle of this much bigger sheath than, I don't even know if it's a sheath, but like it's just like every time we put it away at the cutscenes, everybody like just really quickly like put their things away like it's in game. It's just like, man, that's the little
Hooks
stuff
you
that
out.
takes me out, where it's like you need to have these like pre-rendered cinematics or something that's given a little bit more love. And at some points you can tell like, oh, okay, this one they're walking around and they're actually like somebody animated this versus someone just of like such a side thought that they just gave to some intern to kind of like throw it in there and like, we have to go here and then move. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bosses look cool.
I don't know, man. There were some really epic moments that looked awesome. That
there
like I'm
are,
10,
but,
but
like-
like I was like, dude, what the fuck? This is crazy.
I hated any type of flying though. Between like if you're ever the Phoenix and you're like flying, dude, I couldn't.
Oh, that was like
I can't see
what
what's
game
going
is that
on.
like?
Panzer Dragon.
Yeah.
You can't tell what's going on, and it's just like,
Yeah,
dude,
it was-
I'm
it was
missing
like,
stuff because it's just like there's strobes of light flashing. I'm like, I guess
That's
I'm just,
fair.
like, dude, I was just hitting the dodge, and I was dodging 90% of the time. Guess
Yeah.
what? There's a ring for that too. If you're bad at dodging, it will stop the game and say hit R1 and give you 20 seconds to hit the button.
I don't mind the rings, the beginner rings though.
No, I know, but
You
what
don't
I'm
have to
saying
put
is,
them on. That's the
But
whole
what I'm
point.
saying, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have like all these little
But that's the
like, different
that's
things?
the difficulty,
Sure, I guess, but it's just like, dude,
right? Like, what if there's someone who's just like, oh man, I love Final Fantasy, but I'm terrible at video games.
I think the rings were more of an accessibility, like a
Yeah.
creative accessibility
Yeah.
option for people that are probably prone to seizures or something because this game is so stroby.
Yeah.
But the rings, it just
I never have a problem with them.
The only
I just
reason
took 'em off.
The only reason I had a problem was because I equipped the Torgal one at the beginning, like Tyler said. I got some kind of berserker ring at the very beginning. I got another ring, and I never changed them the entire game. Like I started the game with berserker ring, I ended the game with berserker ring, but I want to know what you have to say about either the musical score or.
Dude, the music was fucking incredible in this
was.
game. So good. Maybe the strongest point. But it's so hard for me because I'm so connected to the music. So it's like maybe I like the rest of the game so much and everything hits so much more because the music is just so ingrained and done so well to just emphasize the epicness of it, sadness, all these different emotions. Wow, the battle and boss themes were just so incredible. I just think epic. That's just the adjective that comes to mind. Everything was super epic, and I thought the score was really, really well done. There's my analysis.
Was it consistent though? So I agree with you. Like when it's hitting, it's hitting. Like whenever you're running up like Titan's little tendrils and it's like this like electric guitar, like crazy, like that was huge. Like that's
that was
anime as
so
hell.
sick.
And it's like okay, that's cool. But then there
or like the choir, like when you're in these boss fights, the Phoenix theme
there are
is
two
super
choirs.
awesome.
The boss choir,
Yep.
but then there's one that's like this like almost happy tune during a boss fight.
Yeah, I
multiple
remember
times,
that one.
and I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
Which one is that?
There's this very lighthearted,
Yeah, it's like
da, da.
I should look on Spotify and get it. And it's like, I can't imagine. I'm like, dude, I'm fighting for my life here. And I could also just see this playing in a town of like a bar or something. Mm-hmm. And took me out of it a little bit where I'm just like, I can't wait to hear what John has to say about this. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember that one. Maybe I'm just
It
super
happened.
biased.
I want to say it happened more. It was definitely more than once, and it was the same song. So I don't know if it was just like a certain part of the battle music.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. I do remember. It was a certain part.
because that did play multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the Phoenix's theme, though, if I'm remembering correctly.
It might be.
Like, yeah, there's like a...
It just seemed out of place.
It
When
was,
you're
it
like,
was interesting. But then it slaps after that, if I remember correctly.
I mean, every time after that, it was a boss, and yeah, it slapped. But I don't know. There were just times I'm like,
But even the towns, man, I really enjoyed every town.
it was subtle though.
A lot of the music. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. I thought it was very catchy, and I really liked a lot of the melodies, man. Like I just
They
thought
were
they were
pulling
really
a lot
unique.
from Final Fantasy VII, or was it just general Final Fantasy?
So did you guys
themes?
collect the orchestral rolls? No. Oh,
Because it's like 20 grand a pop or whatever. Isn't
Well,
it?
but
That's
there
what
was
I was
nothing-
gonna say. Tyler had money because he didn't buy.
But there was
Yeah, I was
nothing
like-
else to spend money on,
Exactly,
so I
I
was
was
literally
buying-
buying them.
that's
And
fair,
every
that's
time
fair.
I came across them in a merchant, I
it's
bought
the
them
principle. It's the principle of it. I'd rather give my money directly to the artist.
But I went
Right.
back to the hideout and I would switch between these orchestral rolls. Man, were they nostalgic! So you had all different types to pick from, and
But that doesn't unlock it in the game, right?
yeah. Well, no, you
When
can
you're at the
listen,
hideout.
you get to pick what.
Dude, I was at the
plays in your
hideout as little as possible. I
Yeah, but
hated the
it
hideout
makes
so
running
much.
running around that much less.
Honestly, it did help a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's somehow, if you, that would be a good mechanic. If you put on the Final Fantasy VII theme, it makes you run 10% faster.
Yeah.
Done. Dude, if they had a ring that would make you move faster or would skip the handing off of items.
I don't know how you
would
missed
put-
the chocobo for the entire. Like, I don't know how you did
Well,
it without the
it
chocobo.
Those were the best side quests.
Every time it was 400
awesome.
meters. And I'm like, I can run 400 meters. 400 meters is 40 seconds because you can, that's the countdown. So I'm like, all right, I got to run to this thing. I see it's 360 meters away. It's going to be 36 seconds away. So I'm like, all right. But then I got to a point and it was like 800 meters away. And I shit you not, I pulled open Google. I'm like, can you get a mount in this game? I'm like, oh yeah, you could just go. So I stopped what I was doing. It was like whatever right before you get on like a ship or something. And I'm like, I have to get this chocobo. Got it, and then never used it because
Yeah.
it was just like you're on water the rest of the. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Ambrosio was sick too because it just let you just cruise through everything. You could jump over. You said you couldn't jump over stuff.
Yeah.
Ambrosia let you were parkouring.
MVP.
well,
All right.
you
well,
live and learn.
Yeah. All right. So that was a lot,
Yeah.
but it was a big game. It was a juicy game. So there's a lot to talk about.
I will finish it because I'm so close. At this point, I can knock it out.
It's on you, man.
A couple hours. Yeah.
Scores
79.
What was yours?
7.9.
I'm in at 88, bro. I fucking love this game.
And that's like, I'm legit
Just-
happy for you.
just
Like, I
hits-
would never.
Something
fight you
about
on
me
that.
too, dude. Like, some of my favorite things have very high highs and like kind of low lows. I just appreciate when people just fucking send it and they go for it and they reach those highs. And it's not perfect, but like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm like, that's just like who I am. I just focus on all the good stuff. I'm like just the optimist. But like, you guys were talking, I'm like, all right, they're right about a lot of these things. There's a lot of negatives, but like, I kind of just don't care, and like some of it. Honestly, I just had a great time.
All that matters.
I loved the game. I just loved the story. I loved how they did things. The active time lore, by the way, kind of reminds
Huge.
me of Tyranny a little bit, where you could hover over things and it would tell you about the world. That's got to be like a staple, dude, because I am
yeah.
so locked in with the lore.
But
And-
here's the thing. I was so excited for that.
Yeah.
And I think they did such a good job explaining what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
I used it maybe a couple times in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But then I felt like I didn't need it. And like I was good.
Yeah, but that's what so the active lore is one thing to have just in case, like if you forget like one thing, but like how they presented the lore just overall was so awesome. I really appreciated how they did it. Like Vivian telling you what's going on and updating the character sheet every time I would go back and like see what the character sheet and the new ties and shit and everything like that, and you can go back to each period of time in which, you know, each of these stages. I just think it was so cool to see how the story developed and what happened. And
I just think it's ironic that they have all of that so well done and they didn't need it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters and stuff. After a while, once you get to the end of the game, you're like set. But I think that's a testament to those systems.
I
For
mean,
me, at
it's a
least.
good thing either way.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So, anyways,
Somehow, even though I know 7.9 sounds low, that was my score, I still somehow believe that this is, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, a must play in the series. And this is coming from somebody who did not complete the 13 trilogy. I actually still want to play 12 because I have not completed 12. And I have not even completed 15. I got very far into 15, was trying to platinum it, but never finished it. For me, this is the first Final Fantasy that I have actually completed, aside from 14, the MMO, and Final Fantasy X-2. So I in my book, this is still a must play if you're a Final Fantasy fan, even though it seems like my score is lower.
It just seems so. You know me, like I typically don't watch people play games, right? Like it's all about the gameplay.
right.
This I have so little desire to play. Like there's not a redeeming, like the combat, it can be fun. I don't want to discourage that, but it's like there's not anything about it that I want to play, right? So like you think of your Horizons, that's fun to play. I want to explore, I want to do whatever. Even Final Fantasy 15, I felt like I was actually going to places and exploring. Oh, here's a chocobo ranch. Oh, here's this. Here's a
Definitely.
fishing area, and all this. Like it's just completely different. Where like this would have been like a cold television show or something, but it's like I'm not going to do all those side quests because like more of just a slog. Even if it's really good, like fleshing out characters and stories and stuff. Like the story, especially for me, can only go so far. I have to enjoy playing it, and if the moving about and the running around and everything, and even the fighting is like such a drag, like it's too much. Like 79, I think again, I was even gonna go lower than that, but it's like the story is good, the characters are good. I actually really like the setting that they set up, where it's like here's your dominance and your bearers, and like it all made sense, like with the classing and there, like it was good, like everything was good, but it was just like I did not care to play more. Like, you know, like like I said, I'm gonna finish it because I've gotten this far. I feel like I owe it to my PlayStation that I have to give you something. But like typically, like even Mass Effect, where I would argue that like Mass Effect gameplay wise might not be the best gameplay, but like the story's so good and
pretty
stuff you're
bad.
doing that. Yeah,
It's
like
pretty bad.
I would rather play Mass Effect than play this. Because at least Mass Effect, you have your party members. There can be some varied stuff. You can do some synergies.
I think that's a wild statement, honestly.
No, I agree with
but
Tyler.
this is
You'd
like,
rather play Mass Effect 2's gameplay
Absolutely.
this is a very.
than this gameplay.
If you want this for the gameplay, Devil May Cry 5.
I
I agree with
I
that.
think Devil May Cry 5 is worse than this. I didn't.
Gameplay wise,
Yeah,
though.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
Okay, I just disagree with
Okay.
everything being said right now, but like,
I disagree with everything. I'm not saying Devil May
that's
Cry 5
okay.
is
I mean,
good.
fair enough. If that's I'll tell you this: Mass Effect 2 went on fucking easy peasy. You're in a diaper mode because I just wanted to fucking talk to my crewmates.
Yeah, but
There's only so many
at
fucking
least I
Protheans
want to
can
talk to. But my argument though is at least I want to talk to my crewmates.
Right,
I went
right.
back to here. The only reason I talked to anyone was because the red thing said you can't progress the actual story that you want to see until you run around and talk to
I
everybody.
never played Mass Effect and sat there shooting at things and felt like I'm such a badass. I am so cool. Look how fucking cool this looks. I never felt that once.
But at least Mass Effect had different areas and you actually had to think and strategize about stuff versus I'm going to hold down R2, hit the square, and nuke everyone around me and get onto the next wave.
Yeah, and it looks sweet.
It
every
looks
time I do it.
sweet, but
I'm
40
telling
hours
you, dude,
of the same
I'm
move?
8 years old. I don't care.
Yeah,
like
no-
I just love.
Buddy, and
every
like-
time it happens, I'm like, dude, that was awesome. Dude, that was awesome. I just like, look, my thinking is flawed, but
The only
I
reason
enjoyed it.
why I ever upgrade anything is because whenever I nuked everybody, they all had a sliver of health left. And I'm like, oh, I bet you there's a sword waiting for me with a +5. Sure enough, you go talk to the dude that is gruffer than you. Get that +5 sword, and you're like, now I can kill everyone in one hit again. Anyway.
All right, 79, 79, 88. Slight
So
difference.
how do we...
However you want to do it. I mean, you can just take the average of those three, which would probably be like, what, 82?
Or 82.
I'd give you an 82, 83. Can you come down that far?
Yeah. I've been outvoted, clearly, so
Well,
doesn't take away my enjoyment
yeah,
of it.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. Well,
Sure.
that was a lot. But I very much appreciate you coming on, Jeff. I love
Thank you
hearing
for
your-
having me
Yeah.
yet again.
I love hearing your thoughts. He's always comes to bat, ready to go. And that was an interesting one. So a lot of good points.
We're all playing Baldur's Gate 3, so we're going to have to do this again in 200 hours.
Are we gonna? You
later.
think we're gonna talk about movement?
So bad.
Movement?
It's actually
It's the
disgusting.
worst thing about the game.
Terrible.
Already.
I might plug in.
why I
I
brought
might
it up.
plug in the controller tonight.
Dude,
actually,
it feels like... we can't get into this now.
Yeah. We'll talk later.
was
sucks.
Divinity that bad though?
I don't remember it being, but it has to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Divinity
Okay.
was the same.
We're
Yeah.
playing Baldur's Gate. It's cool so far, and we'll talk about it later.
Next
right.
year.
Yeah. That being said, that's all we have. That was a long one, but that's okay. Thanks again to Jeff. Check out his Twitch channel. What Killed Jeff?
That's right. We're doing. What am I playing?
Octopath? No,
No.
you're doing Bravely Default.
Bravely Default 2 absolutely rules. That is a RPG you should play. And then on either Tuesday or Wednesday, we're starting WrestleQuest. So
WrestleQuest.
tune in.
Awesome. So what is it? What Killed Jeff?
Twitch.tv/ What Killed Jeff.
Awesome.
What's your...
Check them out.
So obviously we're all doing Baldur's Gate. That's kind of like the co-op thing. What are you playing?
Street Fighter?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I don't
Either
know.
Remnant or Street Fighter.
Either
If you want to
Remnant or
do some
Street
co-op
Fighter.
stuff, I'm actually going to start Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, wow.
Keep on that PlayStation.
Well,
train.
I have to play Assassin's Creed at some point too. Maybe I'll start that. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, we truly appreciate it. Check us out. CouchCompany.games. Everything's on there. All the links, all the goodies. And check us out next time. We'll be here. Same time, same place. Thanks for joining us on the couch.